I was muted. Let me restart. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. Today we're going to be making the rounds, looking at the typical Red Pill MGTOW channels we tend to look at. But, of course, as per the title, we're also going to be talking about some alternative medicine stuff, which will be fun. So I hope you're doing well on this Saturday afternoon. Sushi Mom, welcome. Dregory Term, Bailey Quinn, Captain Rachel, Swiggity Swa, Sexy Baphomet, The Life of Mal, Bumble Homestead, Mock Turtleneck, Fu Manchewy, Hylian Derp, Danziggy Stardust, MW1642, The Suit of Sapien, Sheshka Maroba, Will Van B, Comrade Clicky, Katrina Hood, Yemus, welcome.
There's nothing funny about
Thank you if we are here for continuing your subscription. Appreciate it. I'm thirsty. I got done exercising and showering right before this, which is why I was a little late. The shower was taking longer than I thought. Anything going on with you guys today? Anything interesting? Just curious. Dregory Term says, before we get too far into the stream, could I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 10? 6. Hello, HHHHH9998. Welcome to the stream. Also, by the way, if you want to make sure you get notified when I do stuff, and if you have a Discord, here's a link to the Hannah and Jake Discord. You'll get, I put it in the chat, you'll get notifications when we, like, at everyone at the beginning of our streams. Oh, Dregory Term, thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Oh, 6 tier 1 subs. Damn, I should have picked a higher number. Thank you, I appreciate that.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oh, did you guys see, by the way, I'm sure everyone did at this point, that Dr. Disrespect, who's not a streamer I watch, but he's like one of the most popular streamers on Twitch, got banned, and we don't know why. I'm a sucker for drama, so I'm very curious what the heck was going on.
There's nothing funny about the
Maybe we'll find out more today while streaming. That would be fun to talk about. It's crazy. Thank you, Pseudosapien, for hosting me. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mock Turtleneck for Mock Turtleneck rather for following. I'm almost at 1,500 followers, so that's nice. If anyone watches these regularly but hasn't followed, please do so I can get to 1,500 followers, because it's an arbitrary number I've decided is important.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, Le Poupon, for following. Andrew Dickerson, I said 6 at almost the exact same time. Yeah.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
Oh, it's just still going from that stuff. Did Destiny talk about that? I saw Sarah say earlier he's been covering the multiple streamer fuckery as of late. Oh, I don't know. I don't watch Destiny.
That's right,
I haven't watched him in a while since he got weird and he like started shitting on leftists. Which, like, fine, you can like criticize people in the leftist community all you want, but like he's just like a weird dude. I don't know. Am I further left than Jake? I think so. Yeah. Jake often will conflate markets with capitalism. Or he will conflate, yeah. He will conflate markets with capitalism. So I think he still calls himself like a capitalist in the sense that he wants like he'll say he wants a mixed system. When really, I feel like I've tried to explain to him multiple times, you can have markets and not have capitalism. You can have competition within a socialist framework where workers own their companies and stuff. But, I don't know. It's not something we've ever argued about, really, so I don't know. If we are here says, I'm curious how the stream boss works. Basically, anytime anyone follows or give bits or subscribes or anything, some hit points get taken off the stream boss, and whoever is the final person to actually kill the stream boss with their action, whether it be a subscriber or a follow or whatever, they become the new stream boss. It's just a way to track sort of interaction within the stream and give people something to try and like, oh, I want to be on screen, so I'll be the last person to knock out the stream boss or whatever. It's a way to encourage interaction with the stream, basically. Does Spirit Science count as alt-med? I would argue some of their videos do. The stuff they talk about crystals often comes off like that. I hate his bullshit, but responses to him give me a weird sadomasochistic joy. Same. Jake tends to get a bit more aggressive about things too. Oh yeah. I'll say this, he's masculine. Is that a way to explain it? He's very, I'm Jake, and bear in mind, I'm not like shitting on Jake. Jake's like my best friend. But like he does get like, I'm fucking right. And he gets so stuck on that ego thing, and I'm just not about that shit at all. I'd rather just have a conversation and not try and be overbearing on the person to try and win. I don't know. You like their moon video? Spirit Sciences? I don't know if I've seen their moon video. I found a video of my best friend, college roommate, and her mom apparently talking about energy work or something. Apparently, they're big names in a specific area of alt-med. Ooh, we can take a look at that for sure. Oh my god, it's like an hour long. Yeah, we can take a look at that. I'm much more laid back when on stream. Oh yeah, for sure. And that's, I don't want to say it's intentional, but I certainly, when I think about myself doing this, I don't want to, you know, stream exactly the same as Jake. Like, I don't know. He likes to be the guy at the head of the table. He's Jake. I'm Jake. He's Papa Bird Jake, you know? And he's gotta, like, I don't know. I just prefer to, like, hang out and have a stream with you guys. And I like to get input from you guys on things, and I'm not gonna scream at you and tell you you're wrong if I disagree with you. I don't know. He's got that masculine energy that I am just not about whatsoever. Obviously, based on the transition. Do I want links for tonight? Yeah, sure. Put your links in the chat and I'll check them out. If it's a Rickroll, you're getting timed out, though. There have been too many Rickrolls lately. Enjoy making your sandwich, Belsthar. I always have trouble saying your name. Hello, Junichi3. Welcome. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my laid-back style. Some people like the more aggressive, like, stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. It stresses me out. Talked to Vosh, did he? Who? Jake? I think he's talked to Vosh before, yeah. Captain Diabetes says alt-med is a misnomer. It's really called dumb bullshit. True. You like my Jake impression? Thank you. I've had about a decade to hone it. So... Arcana Stamper Blackwell, you kind of gave me permission, so...
It's not...
Okay. Oh, no, I watched the COVID-19 one, I think. I can check, but I'm pretty sure I watched this one on stream already. But we can try it out. Let me switch over to my... There we go. How nice. True, Xandris, you did not miss 2 hours. You're here before we even get into any videos. It's fantastic. Apollo 8192, it seems that at some point last night I dropped my laptop. I feel like I threw up at some point, but I can't remember. Last thing I knew, I was making dinner. Then I woke up in bed. Oh no, that's not good. That sounds scary. Are you okay? Hope you're doing alright. I've struggled with that sort of thing in the past too, in terms of getting like fucking blackout drunk. It's tough, but you know, you can cut back or stop altogether if you feel that that's what you need to do. I believe in you. Oh yeah, this banner's hilarious. This dude's This dude knows that we live in a society. Alright, let's start, I guess, since we're all pretty much here. Let's see what else. What do you guys think? Should we start with the alt-med stuff, or should we start with, something chuddy? What you think? Let me take a look at this. What's this? How to protect yourself from energy vampires. Oh, goodness. Okay, we can watch that. Sushi Mom 10 says, I was watching Brett XYZ. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Last night, my little one saw them, asked about the hair, and when I explained that they were NB, she wanted to know what it was. But then she got it and was totally supportive. Shows that hate is taught. Yeah, kids understand stuff if you explain it to them. It's not really that hard to explain. That's why I always laugh or roll my eyes at, like, Christians or, like, pearl clutchers on the right. They're like, oh, the kids are going to learn about people being gay and trans and non-binary. And it's like, yeah, they exist in the real world. It's probably something you should allow them to learn about. He has a video on weed. Oh, yeah, I think we watched this, too, at some point. We can check it out, though. Can we share links like this? Let me make sure it's not TOS before I share that with people. Portland, Oregon. Police bathing unarmed, nonviolent protesters in pepper spray for sport. Yeah, we can look at that. Hold on.
Remain near the Justice Center, on area roadways, or in the closed parks, and show the intent to engage in physical resistance to removal, or if emergency circumstances require, you'll be subject to the use of force, including riot control agents and impact weapons.
Jesus Christ, that's some dystopian shit right there. As Donald Glover once said, this is America. He said it a lot of times in a row, though, in a really good music video. So, Mock Turtleneck, love how Christians gasp at kids learning about gay people existing, but think it's dope to learn about Cain and Abel when they're 7. Yeah. Well, don't you know, murder's natural. Being gay is a sin. Let's see. What are we gonna watch first? Let's see whatever this is.
Hello and welcome to another Witchy Wizardy Wednesday. My name's Mark Abardi. This is the live.
I gotta say, I am a sucker for alliteration, so I'm down for Witchy Wizardy Wednesday.
Inspirational community collaboration. And again, Witchy Wednesday seems to constantly throw up technical problems. It is Earth Day as well. Happy Earth Day. I am unable to go live.
You promised me Stone Toss? What was Stone Toss? I totally forgot. I'm blanking. If you have a link that I forgot that I said I was going to get to yesterday or something, send it again, and I'll get to it. Stone Toss is the Nazi? Oh, God. Hold on, let me pull up his thing. Yikerinos. I'm concerned about his comics legitimately being TOS, though. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm concerned that his comics are TOS because they're so fucking racist and anti-Semitic. So, like, I don't know if I should even show these on stream. Some of them definitely are, yeah. Apollo 8192. Wait, I'm not subbed anymore? Yeah, your sub might have run out. Oh, yeah, hold on. 1 second.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Well, someone else gifted you one. So I guess next time remind me that I'll get you one. Because you are owed one. I'm glad someone gifted you though, because frankly, I'm broke until I get paid again. Luckily, I'll be good. I'll be back in black financially once I get my next Twitch payout, which will be nice. If we are here quick on the draw, very much so. Yeah, they won bingo. It's fine. I'll just get it to them next time. Yeah, I can't do stone toss. I'm very concerned that's TOS. I think we all agree he's trash.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Eye of Jade, thanks for gifting a sub.
So I hope you enjoy the show and that you're enjoying all the other wonderful things that are being posted on Earth Day today. Today we have some wonderful guests. We have Dr. Melinda Connor and Dr. Kate Connor, mother and daughter, who are working to move the energy medicine system, all the stuff that we're working on with healing energies, into a more legitimate and recognized domain of traditional medicine. So they're working on all the systems that will move what is previously thought of magic into the realms of healing and energy. Hello, good evening, good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon, sir.
I gave you a little intro before at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to do it again. I've known Melinda Connor, Dr. Melinda Connor, for quite some time now, probably about 15 years. And
closer to 20.
And we met through the energy medicine side of the world, which is basically the physics of how the healing stuff works. The Reikis, the pranic healings, even massage therapy has elements of energy moving from the body to the other body. And
oh god, this is just gonna be woo the whole time, isn't it? What the fuck? There's no evidence for any of this. Please, God, no.
This is talked about from traditional Chinese medicine to the Vedic system from India. Across the world it's been talked about, but science is lagging behind an ability to be able to measure it.
It's not that what we believe is bullshit, it's that science is unable to detect our woo-woo energy bullshit. What a fucking galaxy brain take. You've nailed it.
And that is what Melinda has been dedicating her life to. And now I hear Caitlin as well, Melinda's daughter, dedicating that time to. So I mean, you've too many degrees, Melinda, to talk about. So let's start there. You're an ordained Buddhist priest, as well as being a doctor and a clinical psychologist and a neuropsychologist. You've written 10 books. Teaching
Christ. How did someone with a degree in neuropsychology get into this horse shit? That's a shame.
Across the world. Your first degree was at Harvard, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you have lots of degrees, and you're an ordained Buddhist priest, which was my most exciting part about your thing. And you founded a ballet school when you were younger. Caitlin, you did your bachelor's in science and anthropology, your master's in traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your doctorate in acupuncture and
Oriental medicine.
Oriental medicine, yeah.
Oh god, a doctorate in acupuncture.
I've been told off for it. And now
does that take a week at a correspondence school or what?
It's the old technical term and it hasn't been updated. There's a fair amount of controversy.
Right. Anyway, you're both currently focused on legitimizing energy medicine.
Since when does being an ordained priest count as having a degree? Yeah. Hi, Hannah. My drawing teacher loved the drawings I sent him. Now I only need to finish 9 smart in 1. Oh, sorry. It jumped up. Love 9 more drawings before I finish my first year. I just need to finish 9 more drawings before I finish my first year of architecture. Nice. Katrina Hood, to answer the question how someone smart can believe something so stupid, just because someone's smart in one field doesn't mean they'll be smart in all fields. Yeah, true. Still though, even within psychology though, like, you'll learn about, like, the scientific method, because there is experimental psychology, and you have to take these classes, and the fact that this person, like, took those and is like, nope, just can't work on my woo-woo medicine bullshit, it's very strange. Dude spanking dudes. In happy news, my mom was referring me was referring to me by my preferred name, aka David, and calls me male pronouns and stuff. Great! Congratulations, I'm glad. I'm glad she came around. Captain Rachel, it took her like 3 years and isn't accepted in California. Her spooniness. Do you know how easy it is to get those degrees, especially if it's not an accredited university? A lot of priests have masters in theology, but it's not strictly required for all churches, I believe.
In terms of a scientific protocol. Could you tell us, and maybe Melinda, you start off, tell us a little bit about that process.
So there's a couple of different pieces that are involved in what we're doing. The first one is that we have now posted a whole set of bibliographies and made them accessible to the public at www.naoep.org, the National Alliance of Energy Practitioners.
I gotta look at this website. Did they link to it? The National... Come on, you gotta link to the stuff in the description. National Alliance of Energy Practitioners. Oh no. Welcome to the National Alliance of Energy Practitioners. This group was formed as an alliance of associations and training programs in 2018. Our purpose is to share information about about quality energy practices, educate the public on the styles of energy work, their use, the research on energy practices, and limits of what a professional practitioner can do. For the professional practitioner, we hope to provide information that is relevant to their experience, which expands their knowledge and improves the quality of care which they provide. For training programs, we invite you to join our organization and support the growth of our community so that we may promote a more compassionate, joyous, and knowledge-based world. Oh boy. Research. Let's look at the research. Find a training program. For existing training programs, at this time we are inviting all energy training programs to submit applications to join the community. There is no cost for membership until 2022. However, there is a review process which includes faculty, quality, ethics, skills, and programs. Programs which are invited to join in one of the divisions can decide if they want a free program link and listing on this website, or paid advertisement and link for the program. Fee schedule will be sent to those programs which are accepted. To begin the process of listing your training program, please click on the following link. Find a training program. Let's see what their training programs are. Dude spanking dudes is someone who believes in natural medicine to an extent. Some Chinese medicine lady gave me these pills to help my weight. It got me ill and I vomited. Yeah, that'll happen. That's why the FDA is important, folks. Real medicine is tested. No offense, but natural medicine. If natural medicine worked, we'd just call it medicine. In my opinion. Cognitive somatic energy practices. Thank you. Tentacly. Oh boy. Technically Leanman. Thank you for following. Does acupuncture do anything? I've seen some stuff showing it might be good for limited stress relief the same way oils can, but they always blow it out of proportion. Yeah, it might do something like that. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to do the things these people claim it does. My ex from high school, his mom recently expanded her business from New York to Southern California. She owns a pink salt cave. It's literally a room filled with a couple tons of pink salt on the floor. It's $200 to sit in the room for an hour, $600 for a Reiki session in the room, and since the place is shut down for COVID, she's doing Zoom call psychic readings for your pets. What a grift. What a grift. God damn. What a brilliant business. I wish I had the lack of morals in order to go and just fill a room with salt and then pay people money to go sit in it. Jesus Christ, it's brilliant. Cognitive somatic energy practices. This division is specifically for lay practitioners. Licensed psychological discipline practitioners should contact ACEP for information regarding their professional practice. These practices address the relationship of energy systems to emotion, cognition, behavior, and health. These systems include electrical activity of the nervous system and the heart, meridians, biophotons, biofields, etc. Does biophotons just mean the photons in the atoms that, photons are the things that light's made out of. What the fuck are biophotons? Biophotons. Biophotons from the Greek, I don't know how to say that, meaning life, and that in fucking Greek, meaning light, are photons of light in the ultraviolet and low visible light range that are produced by a biological system. Oh, so any time, like, there's a reaction in the body that creates light, which I'd imagine is relatively rare, like bioluminescence, I'm guessing, and for some reason, energy released that might be visible in the electromagnetic spectrum outside of the visible range. But they're taking this to mean something that it does not, presumably. Gotcha. Good to know. Laying on of hands healing uses one of the 5 techniques to support the relaxation responses of the clients and some oscillatory effects, which are defined by the techniques used, where the relaxation response is then used to promote the health and well-being of the client. Many training programs are 2 to 3 weekends in length. 2 to 3 weekends, wow. Can you imagine if your doctor, who's, I don't know, taking your biopsy for something, let's say you found a lump somewhere in your body, came in and they're like, oh yeah, I got my degree over 2 to 3 weekends. Would you trust that doctor? I'd hope not. Medical intuition, aka bullshit that I think. Though not a specific division yet, medical intuition is providing the medical community additional insights based on the subtle energy perspective, which then the physician's family and nurse practitioners or other healthcare professionals can use in the effective treatment of their client patient. Ugh. Research. How to do research. Let's click on this. How to use this site to train yourself on how to do research. We have set up this research site with all the topics and links to resources to help you be able to develop a research design, do a literature search, research and prepare a grant, do a research study, write up the results of the study, find the correct journal to send to the manuscript. I don't know if Baja's listening or not, but Baja, did you know you wasted your time going to school for years and years to become a PhD candidate? You can just go on this website and do research into energy by applying on their website. Section 1. Finding a funding source and writing your grant. CAM-specific funding sources, funding agencies directory, grant funding, or oh god, it's a PDF. I don't want to look at a PDF. These are all PDFs. Ugh. Oh, it's not even a PDF, it's a Word document. Jesus Christ. It's just a Word document full of links. This didn't need to be a fucking Word document. Captain Diabetes, if medicine was intuitive, you wouldn't need 10 years of school and a fucking residency, right? And if medicine that was accurate was intuitive, fucking trepanning and bloodletting and leeches would be a thing still, right? For some reason, people found that intuitive. It was bullshit. Ethics in the human studies protection process. Oh no. At least they have a section on ethics in human studies. I find the whole thing they're doing unethical, considering they're telling people that they can cure things via energy healing, but hey, whatever. Alright, we're off track. We gotta get back to the video.
We have over 15.
QAnon is infiltrating the Sentinel? I don't even know what the Sentinel is. Oh, the Senate. For some reason on my phone, it looked like Sentinel. Hold on. Oregon Republican U.S. Senate nominee defends her interest in QAnon. Oh, Christ. You know, it's fun to read about the fall of empires in books, but I don't want to be present for one. That's awful. It's too bad the reasons we don't have more doctors. We could have more doctors if, you know, college didn't cost an arm and a leg. Yeah, it's stupid. At least she's a primary candidate. Like, maybe she... I don't know what the polling is. Let me take a look at her name, and then I'll take a look at the polls. Jo Ray Perkins. Jo Ray Perkins is running for election to the U.S. Senate to represent Oregon. She's on the ballot in the... Oh, no, she is in the general election. Fuck. November 3rd, she advanced from Republican primary on May 19th, 2020. She ran for election to the U.S. House. Christorinos. Let me look at the polls. Come on, let me see some polls. Oregon Senate. I'll just... Oregon Senate race polls. There we go. 538. They're pretty good. Governor, U.S. House, Governor. Show more polls. House. Why is there not Senate? Oh, these are 2018. Have they not done Senate polls for them? I can't find it. It's a left-wing state, but the right is right. Well, hopefully she doesn't fucking get it. That'd be nice. We really don't need more of that bullshit in the government.
Peer-reviewed journal articles that are on that listing. We have, for example, over 600 that are from the National Library of Science database, PubMed, that are specifically on laying on of hands and full spectrum healing.
We gotta look at some of the... No, no,
Can
whatever.
I just stop you there? I just want to understand, for the viewers who may not know, what is energy medicine?
Energy medicine is the charged fields that surround and protect essentially the corona of the body, like the Earth has an atmosphere and a corona around the Earth. The human body does the same thing. So it's the charged...
Salt walls and salt caves.
What we want to do today at Spiritual Quest is show you something that we've been involved in for years. And we're lucky enough today to have...
I don't want to be in a salt room. I get dry enough as it is. I'm out of lotion in here, actually, and I feel so dry after a shower if I don't lotion, much less if I go into a room full of fucking salt. No, thank you.
One of our customers let us tape their salt wall. Spiritual Quest supplies all of the salt bricks, all of the know-how, all of the mortar, and all of the design capability for building salt walls, salt caves, whether it be in your home or for a business. We've been doing it for years. We know exactly what to do, and we wanted to come to you today and share it with you.
I mean, it looks kind of cool if you want to put one in your business for some reason, like for how it looks, but like really, really stupid if you think it's gonna like heal you or do anything positive. I don't know the effects of like salt on your skin. I know that like people have said like the Red Sea, if you go and you bathe in it, that's the one I think that's like really, really buoyant because of the high salt content. That can be good for your skin. Like, but I don't know. It's not gonna cure you of anything or make you healthier.
Received a lot of requests for information with regards to salt walls and salt caves, so here it is. We're going to teach you more today. What I want to talk about briefly is salt bricks. Salt blocks come in many shapes and sizes. Some people like to buy boulders and stack them to look like a real salt cave or a mine. We can do that. This particular salt wall is all uniform in shape. Some of them have been cut to make the joints not quite as even, which you would normally do on a brick wall. But what I want to bring to your attention is we can get bricks in almost any shape and size and in any dimension or quantity you need. What we've got right behind me is an entrance to a salt cave. Here,
like, it looks cool with lights behind it or whatever, but it's... if you're doing it for anything but aesthetic purposes, you're gonna have a bad time.
here in Beverly Hills, California.
I also don't know how long it's gonna last, considering it's made of salt.
And it's been used for massage, meditation, and many other medicinal purposes. I was here one night at a grand opening years ago, and I was told of a person who was mildly autistic
Oh God, don't do what you're about to do.
who went into this salt cave. I happen to know that person. Of course, I won't mention any names.
Oh, that's very convenient for the bullshit story you're about to tell, isn't it?
But that gentleman was very quiet in nature. But when he walked into this salt cave, I was told, I was not here at this time, I was told that he became very talkative. And
Fuck off.
what I want to allude to is Himalayan salt creates negative ions. Poundage equals how many ions Himalayan salt creates. So the more negative ions we are surrounded by, the healthier our bodies are. And I just thought it would be a great story to share with regards to the Himalayan salt, the negative ions, and the benefit, the immune boost, and hey, the cognition that this gentleman happened to enjoy that day. We should all keep that in mind. So what we're going to do now is go right inside this Himalayan Salt Cave Healing Center, and I'll show you more. So here we are inside the healing room. This is a very unique place to be inside, and I feel very, very welcome and special. The floor is 100% Himalayan salt, 2 to 3 inches thick. This is human grade, human edible Himalayan salt.
It's kind of Willy Wonka-esque. You can eat the walls. It's like a really salty snozberry.
One of the things that our customers always ask about is how do you get the salt wall to stand up, not fall in on itself or not fall forward? First of all, there is a scientific process to it, and there's a formula to the grout or mortar. We have that formula and we share it with every one of you who buys salt cave supplies or salt wall supplies. In addition to that, we can help you design your salt wall, your salt cave, and I just wish every one of you who are watching this today could be in this salt cave healing room with me right now. You can feel the warmth, you can feel the good vibes, and that's negative ions doing their job. Negative ions are oxygen molecules with a negative charge.
What? Did you just say ions or oxygen molecules?
And at the very least, you're taking in 20 to 30% more oxygen.
What the fuck? Ions, an atom or molecule with a net electric charge due to the loss or gain of one of the electrons. So you're saying it's an ion of oxygen, which is somehow fixing someone's autism. Fuck you.
And that boosts your immune system and also helps your mood.
Yikerinos. That's awful. What's this one?
Here he is, dipping his
Oh god, I've watched this video on stream like every other...
webbed flippers into the pool of climate change with his
feet over the next 100 years, say 10 feet by the next 100 years, and it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater, right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
Oh god, the video. Hold on. It,
Just one small
froze.
problem. Sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman!
Fields that permeate through and extend past the surface of the body. There are lots and lots of different kinds of charged fields. You can have radio frequency fields, you can have microwave fields, you can have, oh gosh, all the way into things like 5G.
Jesus fucking Christ! 5G. It's fucking cell phone signals, motherfucker. We've had this discussion every time there's a new kind of... Look at this. Hold on. Let me pull this shit up. Old anti-electricity cartoon. This is what you dumb fucks getting mad about 5G look like. This is an actual anti-electricity ad cartoon, political cartoon from 1900. Oh, the electric radiation is going to kill us and destroy our civilization. This is what you idiots sound like and look like. Fucking idiots.
Literally tested practitioners, we test them up through 8 gigahertz.
Right.
So practitioners and people are turning out lots and lots of frequency waves. The old comment and the old theory was that you had one cell and one frequency. And we found that that isn't true at all. You have lots of cells, but each cell has billions of frequencies
Source?
that it's in dialogue with.
On what are you basing this? What are these, like, vibrations that you're talking about?
Potentially sending them out.
How are you measuring them?
Right. Caitlin, what's, I mean, you've obviously got into this field and followed in Mum's footsteps with regards to the physics of energy.
Neither of you have any degree or expertise in the field of energy physics, which, by the way, I'd imagine is a fucking thing that people spend their lives dedicating themselves to understanding, and you're here with your goddamn psych degree and no degree, talking about, oh, the energy healing, we're gonna save you from the 5G with our touch healing.
Why does traditional, well, it's not traditional, why does allopathic medicine find it so difficult to understand energies?
The definition that I usually use is allopathic Western medicine uses a chemical system, and that's definitely accurate. There's a fair amount of chemistry going on there.
This is like an hour of Dunning-Kruger. I can feel it in my bones.
What they're missing is the electrical system, and that's what energy works with. So when you have nerves that are firing, there's a transmission of an electrical current from one place to another. And that charge doesn't disappear just because it gets to the other point. So you have a fair amount of energy, literally energy frequencies, that build up over time, and they do things. And for the most part, Western medicine doesn't deal with that at all. With the
This is
exception of
incredibly
things like
vague.
shocking hearts back into rhythm.
Hold on, let me look this up because I'm curious. What happens to the electrical impulses in your body? This is from the University of Maryland, How the Human Body Uses Electricity. Electricity is everywhere, even in the human body. This is written by someone named Amber either plant or plant, not sure. Electricity is everywhere, even in the human body. Our cells are specialized to conduct electrical currents. Electricity is required for the nervous system to send signals throughout the body and the brain, making it possible for us to move, think, and feel. So how do cells control electric currents? The elements in our bodies, like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, have a specific electrical charge. Almost all of our cells can use these charged elements, called ions, to generate electricity. The contents of the cell are protected from the outside environment by a cell membrane. The cell membrane is made of lipids that create a barrier that only certain substances can cross to reach the cell interior. Not only does the cell membrane function as a barrier to molecules, it acts as a way for the cell to generate electrical currents. Resting cells are negatively charged on the inside, while the outside environment is more positively charged. This is due to a slight imbalance between positive and negative ions inside and outside of the cell. Cells can achieve this charge separation by allowing charged ions to flow in and out through the membrane. The flow of charges across the cell membrane is what generates electrical currents. Cells control the flow of specifically charged elements across the membrane with proteins that sit on the cell surface and create an opening for certain ions to pass through. These proteins are called ion channels. When a cell is stimulated, it allows positive charges to enter the cell through the open ion channels. The inside of the cell then becomes more positively charged, which triggers further electrical currents and can even turn into electrical impulses called action potentials. Our body uses certain patterns of action potentials to initiate the correct movements through thoughts and behaviors. A disruption in electrical current can lead to illness. For example, in order for the heart to pump, cells must generate electrical currents that allow the heart muscles to conduct at the right time. Doctors can even observe these electrical impulses in the heart using a machine called an ECG. Irregular electrical currents can prevent heart muscles from contracting correctly, leading to a heart attack. This is just one example showing the important role of electricity in the heart and disease. So basically they're talking about electricity being generated by elements within our bodies. So yeah, I don't know.
Which has certainly proven very effective.
I'm actually going to ask Baha something. Because I got to know what happens to the electrical impulses in your body once they're used. Because based on that article, it sounded to me like they're basically moved around by moving around small, like, bits of elements within the cells. I'd imagine that the I don't know. I don't know anything about biology, which is why I'm bringing her in.
So,
I've heard the saying that these, sure, okay, these fields exist, but they're so tiny and so small that they can't possibly do anything.
Sorry.
Yeah. Tell us.
So
yeah.
we've just finished doing 14 years of work, testing over 1,200 practitioners in the U.S. and in Canada and in Mexico on a whole set of devices. Everything from a data logging multimeter, which is a bog standard.
Baha said she's on her way, by the way.
Boring electrical voltage meter that you can pay $19 for down at Home Depot, and every electrician in the world uses it. Okay, to much more complex devices like BioWell and GDV, physiology suites, neuro and biofeedback. Extra low frequency magnetic field meters, things like that. And
hello. So I'm watching these woo-woo bullshit spirit healer people.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the electrical impulses that our bodies use.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, that energy doesn't go anywhere. It can be used for a variety of things. So what happens to the electrical impulses in your body? Like, how are they? I read an article that I didn't totally understand where they were talking about like sodium and potassium being involved in the generation of electricity or movement of electricity through your nervous system.
Yeah.
How does that work? and what happens to, like, the impulses in your brain once it, like, gets to the place it needs to get to.
So there's, in your synapses and different cells, it's like, they can support, like, a voltage gradient. So that is caused by like voltage gated channels. So there's a signal, and as it goes across the cell, there is an influx of or outflux of potassium. I can't remember if it goes in or out, and it's basically just perpetuates along like your nervous system. So as it goes across, these channels will open, and then eventually they'll close, and the next one will open, and it just keeps going and going and going until it gets to the place where the impulse is, you know, supposed to go. And as far as I know, that just, like, the energy is used up as heat or whatever. Like, it just dissipates.
Okay.
Because it's no longer perpetuated. It's no longer, like, strong enough to cause a reaction from the voltage gated channels in the cell. I am not, like, a neurologist at all. I only know what happens on, like, the specific cell level of this system. But I don't know, like, on the body system how it happens. I just assume that as it travels, it loses energy to heat, and it's obviously doing things because it's opening channels and closing channels.
Good night, Apollo 8192. Thanks for coming to the stream.
So I would just assume that over time, it loses its energy.
Okay, another important medical question. How do skeletons dance? Is that your official
yeah,
PhD candidate opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
They dance like this.
Fantastic. Can we talk about this? Hold on. Let me see what this is. Oh, God. Yeah, you want to watch this?
I don't
Good morning, family, all of you, because that's what we all are here.
know what it is.
What I want to say is we, the people, will work day and night to clean every single seat if need be. We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against
Thank you, Arenas
the
350
freedom
bits.
of choice.
Pseudoscience.
Okay?
Baja blasted.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that mask
They literally did, though.
is killing people.
The mask is not killing people, you fucking idiot. Please leave.
It literally is killing people. And we the people, are waking up.
Chat,
and we know what
being
citizens
near
arrest
Hannah
is.
is
Because
so
citizens arrests
comforting
are
for me.
already
I just love
happening. Okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military
These people
protocol.
are
You're
so
trying to
fucking
get
crazy.
people to train them.
Thank you.
So when the cameras,
Is there any
the
chance you
5G
could bring me
comes
some
out,
lotion?
They're gonna
very
scan
dry.
everybody. We gotta get scanned. We gotta get temperature.
Thanks.
The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now, because none of you know what the hell you are all talking about. This is insane. And then
Imagine talking to a doctor to their face and trying to say that they don't know what they're talking about. Like, is her fucking name Dunmina Krugella? Like, what the fuck?
want to open open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer. Because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules? Why are they not in jail? Oh, is it because you're part?
Thank you. We'll move on further into public comment. We have Paige McNabb followed
Just a quick of disinfectant. Jesus.
by Cindy Falco DiCorrado. I'm not sure. But Paige McNabb, you're next. Followed by Elizabeth.
One, I can actually tell you their names instead of saying someone. George Looper, a surgical mask. Not going to give any kind of...
I can't with these fucking psychos. It's like watching Parks and Rec, but it's real. Let's do a chud thing, and then we can... And then we'll do some more pseudoscience stuff. In fairness, he's more of a Nazi than a chud, but let's watch it anyway.
Greetings, Laddingtons. I'm checking in from a sun-drenched and paradise-like Scandinavian landscape. I'm checking in with some insights. Now, I'm hardly the first one to talk about this, but I just wanted to add my voice to the choir. The choir of lament. No, nothing so defeatist, I assure you. But anyway, I wanted to talk a bit about fatherhood and how fatherhood and fathers are being portrayed in culture. And just having a look at mainstream culture, you see the dad as being a character of not so respectable nature. You see him more as a joke. The only thing he's good at is giving out money to his wife and kids, etc. His wife doesn't really find him attractive, doesn't respect him. His children do not respect him either. He is, the punchline of a joke, seen as lazy, stupid, weak, fat. All he does is drink beer and watch the football game on the couch in front of the TV.
In fairness, have you met Americans? That is a lot of dads in America. That was my dad for sure. An idiot. He's overconfident. He's a Dunning-Kruger victim as well. Just does nothing but drink and scream at people. I wish I had a sitcom dad that drank and, was just funny instead of a monster. So...
Now, compare this to how fathers were portrayed 100 years ago. You know, you had a kind, loving, good man who, inspired respect and trust in his family. And
so kind, he wouldn't let his wife leave the house. She couldn't get a job. She couldn't do things for herself.
You can view fatherhood in two different ways. What kind of father do you want to be? Do you want to be a safe haven for your family? Do you want to be someone they can always trust? Both in terms of safety, security, and also in trust of doing and knowing what's best for everyone. Can compare this if you have a ship. If you want to travel across a stormy sea, you have the option of two captains. One captain is confident, knowledgeable, experienced, he knows what he's doing. Then you have a captain who seems a bit unsure about himself, doesn't really inspire confidence, who will have the most calm and collected crew and passengers. Of course, the competent captain will inspire the most trust. And the same thing with a family. As a father, in my view at least, you should be the captain of the ship. You should steer it away from dangers. If dangers appear, you confront them. You should also know, in terms of wisdom and knowledge, what to do. Your role as a father should not only be to provide, but also to protect and to serve as a teacher, a mentor.
But why are these things that are only the responsibility of the father? Why can the mother not also teach and protect? Because that seems like a thing all parents should be doing, right?
A safe haven for your children and for your wife. Now contrast that with the mainstream portrayal of a father who's, yeah, basically a joke. So that is what I want you to...
I think he's literally just referencing, like, sitcoms. Like, I don't know, King of Queens. I don't know, I don't watch modern sitcoms. Or, like, Modern Family. And they're jokes because they're comedies, right? Like, you get that? Is that not clear? And the silly dad doing schemes or whatever, and then his wife getting, like, mad at him, that's, like, not a new thing. This goes back to the Flintstones, which is basically a ripoff of the fucking Honeymooners, you know what I mean? Like, this is not crazy. I Love Lucy was sort of a spin on that, where it was the opposite. Lucy would go out and do crazy stuff, and then the husband, Ricky, would be like, "Oh, what are you up to, Babaloo?" And she'd be like, "Ricky, I want to be in the show." I don't know. The point is that this idea of, like, in sitcoms, you have scheming, bumbling dad and overbearing wife who puts up with him for some reason. This is not a new phenomenon. These are tropes that go, like, back to the beginning of television.
Think about when you think of a father. I want to be a high-thumos father. I don't want to be a joke dad. Didn't know what else to call it, but you know what I mean. And so that is the first thing we need to change in culture. You know, the gravitas of the father. Getting away from the dad bod dad who's lazy in front of the TV and get to the...
Okay, but, like, most American dudes are like that. Most American women are like that, too. Americans have weight problems and sit around and watch TV. Not all of them, obviously, but neither is everyone on TV like that. In fact, television has, I would argue, a much higher percentage of very attractive people on it than exist in real life, right?
You know, esteemed and respected and loved patriarch of the family who knows what is best. So for me personally, again, I want to be a patriarch who takes care of his family. Even into old age, you can have grandchildren, etc., and they can look upon you to know, you know, this is a man I can emulate. Then of course you can have mentors, etc., that you can emulate too, but you want to have that sense of, you know, calm composure. Then something else I thought to mention.
Because when I think calm composure, I think a Swedish Aryan Nazi who screams about great replacement theory on the internet.
And I want to say something first, and that is, I want the best for you, because you are on my side, after all, in this great struggle of our civilization. Mainstream culture and the people who work in mainstream culture, for the most part, they don't really like you at all. So you can choose who to listen to. You can listen to me or to them, and you can decide which is the best advice.
Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that.
The best advice.
By the way, in the chat, this is the link to my YouTube channel.
Now,
where I
mainstream culture, they don't want
post
to be
the
a
VODs from here, so that they have a place to be archived. If you want to subscribe there, you can check out my older streams. Cool, very day. Thank you for following.
And what I see they are trying to portray is, you know, fatherhood as being the end of your youth, the end of your youthful energy, the end of your individual quest for glory.
Jesus Christ. Why is everything so dramatic with him? Like, pre-marriage world is a quest for glory. What are you talking about?
An artist, a martial artist, an athlete, a writer, whatever you are on your path towards greatness.
Thank you, NobJ, for continuing your subscription.
For a long period of time.
It also says, alright, I can finally type. I don't like sharing a country with this man.
It doesn't mean that you suddenly only do fatherly duties. You can view it as having an additional job, an additional responsibility. But again, for me, I envision myself now, I want to conquer as much as possible. In terms of the clothing company and the supplement company, I want to conquer as much as possible. Now I also want to be an author.
He is anti-porn.
Continue writing good books that many people appreciate. These two goals being in conquest mode in terms
I
of
really hope this
entrepreneurship
dude
business
doesn't end up with a
and
wife.
writing books, they are completely
Because that
incongruous
poor
with being a
woman
father.
and their poor
There's
kids, if
absolutely
that were to
nothing
happen.
that says that I have to, you know, go away from my vision, from my path upwards to glory. I can still do it. Same thing for you. You can still be the best athlete, you can be the best musician, you can be all of these things whilst being a father. So instead of viewing fatherhood as, you know, now you are a father, so now you cannot do anything, you cannot be a high thumos youthful man anymore, you need to cast that away. And also it depends on how you view yourself. You can of course be completely domesticated, you know, getting a dad bod, now I'm a dad, so now I...
Sushi Bomb 10 says, I got excited for a moment. I saw Rip Trump on Twitter, but he's not dead. Yeah, I don't want Trump to die. I want him to lose. Because if Trump died in office, he would never get to... I want him to lose because it will destroy his ego. And it would be... I just want to see that. That's all I want to see. I don't want him to die. I want him to leave office and hopefully get charged with things that he's done illegally. Ugh. Yeah, he doesn't have kids and isn't married, to my knowledge. He's just a weird Nazi.
Have the excuse to not set the pace high in the Temple of Iron. That's up to you, but then also, in terms of what sort of father figure you want to be. Do you want to be the dad bod dad, who is the joke?
He probably won't get charged, but boy, I sure can dream.
Who's a punchline in every joke? Or do you want to be the respectable patriarch? Yeah, if you want to be the respected patriarch, then you have to still maintain your discipline. Then you can't use being a father as an excuse to not set the pace high. Of course, everyone is short on time. I'm short on time too, but I know I need to train for a number of reasons. And I suggest you do it too, so you don't become, you know, trapped in that mentality of now you are a dad, and a dad can only do certain things. So view your own quest for glory straight forward, upwards, and then you have a family also. They don't need to be in competition with each other, I assure you. And whenever you think that way, I want you to remember that that is the vision being presented to you by an enemy that do not like you at all. I, your friend, want the best for you, and I say you can have both. You can have your own quest for glory and be a father. So, to conclude, we need to reinvigorate the high thumos father, and we need to combat the dad bod dad, the joke dad, and it's up to you what you want to be. So I encourage you to view fatherhood as
how likely do I think it is that Biden will get elected? I have no idea.
What you're already doing, and don't let it completely consume you. You still have your own vision for the future.
All right, let's look at something more Nazi-ish from him. Come on. Paganism or Christianity? Should you become a Catholic? Depression and purpose in life? I was attacked by the Swedish mainstream media. A brutal black pill. Ew.
Greetings, my esteemed subscribers. Today I come bearing a necessary black pill in regards to the gravity of the situation, and I make this video in relation to my last video about why I cut my hair, and it's quite related. Usually, as you all know, I'm not the first one to come with black pills. On the contrary, I always try to see things from the bright side of life. I always come with white pills, but today I just want to remind you all about, again, the gravity of the situation, because over the last year I have taken it to perhaps another extreme. I've only talked in terms of the positive side, but I did this because last autumn, in terms of Sweden at least, when we had an election which didn't quite go according to plan, a lot of guys became quite black-pilled, including me, but I had personal things going on which were very white-pilling, such as my wife and daughter, for example. So I was...
Oh God, is he married and has a kid? Jesus Christ. Get it straight. Ugh. Let me look at the golden one. Let me see if I can find a Wikipedia on them or something. Marcus Folin, better known as the Golden One, is a Swedish white nationalist YouTuber, bodybuilder, and online fitness coach, as well as the creator of one of the dullest Skyrim Let's Plays in the world. He's also a proud pagan Odinist who really likes Julius Evola's traditional values. Maya is bored with 20 bits. Please know that none of us Swedes in the chat endorses what this guy says. I feel embarrassed to be from the same country. No worries. I deal with weird, shuddy, or Nazi-ish Americans all the time. It happens. What does he do and why should you care? Despite his bizarrely reactionary views, or maybe because of them, the Golden One's YouTube channel boasts over 100,000 subscribers as of June 2020. Some of his subscribers are supposedly in positions of power. Keep on reading and let that sink in. Support for vigilantism. The Golden One has open support for Rodrigo Duterte, president of the Philippines, whom he described as a hero, role model, and textbook definition of a good leader. That's fucking disgusting. Specifically, he supports Duterte's decision to encourage the murder of suspected drug dealers. Has it ever occurred to him that some people targeted by Duterte's lynch mobs might be innocent? Yes, it has, but he fuses it as a necessary sacrifice because everyone knows that stopping consumption of particular combinations of chemicals is more important than due process or innocent people's lives. Fucking gross. He is married. Yep. Jesus Christ. Gross.
But I knew the situation for a lot of guys was, let's be real, it wasn't the best of times in regards to our future in the West, especially Sweden. And with the West, I mean North America, large parts of Europe, primarily Western Europe, Australia, and of course South Africa. You all know the situation there. It's not looking all too good for the South African Boers. But let us look upon the majority of the West right now. It might be good in certain areas at this moment. So if someone asks me, can I go to Stockholm for a nice weekend with my wife or something like that, I say, yeah, sure, definitely you can. It's a beautiful city, and Sweden is still one of the best countries on earth. That is true, but we have to keep this in a... We have to look into the future. We have to look, what will Germany, Sweden, England, what will it look like in 10 years' time? What will it look like in 20 years' time?
Let me guess, you're upset that there's gonna be more brown people. A Nazi being insecure about the fact that people who don't look like him are gonna be around him? What a shock.
30 years' time. It might sound like it's far away, but it's really not. It's quite close, especially if you're talking about this in historical terms. 30 years is nothing. So we need to keep this in mind, even though a lot of you who perhaps haven't been into politics all too much, the situation, the demographical situation in the West, perhaps you don't see it right now. But if you look at it a bit further in the future where things are headed, yeah, it's not looking good. I'm not saying this because I believe everything is hopeless. I'm not saying this because I want to be a doomsday prophet. I'm not saying this because I want to say, oh, everything...
You literally called this video a necessary black pill. Are you kidding me?
...is hopeless, Sweden is lost, Germany is lost. No, that is not the case. It is not. But let us also not forget that we are out on thin ice. And I want to come with this reminder to you all, first and foremost, to remind you that I am always will be, 100% loyal to Mother Europe. And I want to say this because over the last year...
Really? What do you mean by Europe, Golden One? Do you mean the landmass of Europe? Do you mean the history of Europe? Or is it more about the skin color of the people that you would prefer live there? Because I'm guessing it's sort of the latter.
I have made less political videos, less videos about the gravity of the situation, because I didn't want to blackpill anyone anymore. But as it is right now, I saw some of the comments about my hair, viewing this as some sort of game. It's absolutely not. It's about the survival of Western civilization. Let that sink in for a while. It's not a game. It's not about my individual desires. It's not if I want to have my hair in a certain way. My wishes has nothing to do with it. I want to do everything possible I can to promote my metapolitical message, and for it to be received by as many people as possible, for it to be received in the best possible way with the people that matters. Whatever I can do to promote that, I will do. Simple as that, regardless if I want to have long hair or not. And the same thing for you, and especially if you are some sort of public figure, some sort of leader, some sort of whatever you might be. If you have a position, if you are in a position of influence, you have to do everything you possibly can, everything you can do realistically to improve the chances that your message is being received. That is where we are right now in this titanic struggle for our civilization. I might sound overly dramatic here.
No,
sure,
you don't say.
If we look at it today, but if we look at it again in 10 years time, in 20 years time, what we do now matters. And I will quote Gladiator, what we do in life echoes in eternity. What we do now and say now, the victories we have now, yeah, it will echo in 10 years time. Winning a metapolitical war takes time. It took the left quite a long time to do it. It will take some time for us to win as well. But we have truth, we have justice, we have reason, we have good on our side. So keep that in mind when you go forward. So that is what is going on in terms of the demographical situation. Then also add to this another black pill. We have so many guys in the West right now that are victims of society.
Oh, God.
And I don't want to sound like a leftist here, but we can take some talking points from them, especially when it comes to being a victim of society. Everything is not up to the individual. You can't just pull yourself up by the bootstrap.
Oh, so we need social safety nets to save white men. Brilliant.
Like some boomer argument would say to a young guy. It is hard for a lot of young men today to find a girl.
It's harder for a lot of people today because the world is in fucking shambles. The economic situation is a nightmare. All the wealth of the past 30 years has been funneled to the top 1%, where the rest of us are fighting over scraps. It's not good. It's affecting everyone. And instead of addressing those issues, you're gonna bitch about the fact that women don't have to date men anymore? Why? Why is this where you, like, hang your hat? Why is this where you choose to die on a hill? What's the point?
Girlfriend, to find meaning in life, to find friends, to find a community, to find work even. And that is an extremely bad concoction of negative things that can push guys to either do something stupid such as go and shoot up someplace, or to take his own life.
Jay, we must seize the means of procreation.
Thing. Basically, of course, a mass shooting is worse because then others suffer from it too. But ultimately it stems from a place of severe hopelessness. So we have to take that into consideration as well. What can we do? Yeah, for me personally, I am trying as often as I can to reach out to these guys, say, you know what, go into the gym, go for a run, get some endorphins going in your body. You might feel starting a bit better. You might start reading some books or something. You might find some purpose in your life.
Alright, Nazi guy's boring me today. Let's see what else we got. Yum Yum Naturals. I think we already watched Only Dummies Get Flu Shots. Scientism, the cult of vaccines. Yikerinos. That's 2 hours, though. Why some people are not awakening.
Beloved greetings from the Andes Mountains again. Today I want to talk about truth. And especially...
Truth.
Why is it that many people are not able to see the truth?
By truth, they mean anti-vaccination, anti-actual medicine, pro-woo-woo bullshit, pro-crystals, pro, putting essential oils on your kid and in their food.
Truth, we have to understand, is real. Truth is eternal. Truth is immutable. And truth exists, whether we believe in it or not.
Yes, that is correct. However, you've decided that you don't trust vaccines for very stupid reasons. You're the person that kind of phrase is aimed at, and you don't even realize it.
It's popular to now believe that there is no such thing as truth. And that there is your truth and my truth, and that you have the right to believe what you believe, and I have the right to believe what I believe. But this is creating utter chaos. And as a collective, if we really want to grow spiritually, we have to come to understand that truth is a prerequisite for freedom. And what is required of us to be able to do that is to first see the truth of ourselves. Because if we have a blind spot to our inner world, this same blind spot works as a blind spot to the outer world. So really learning how to decipher truth in a world full of lies and perpetuated confusion, the remedy is to go within and learn to see the truth of our reality. And the first question is, am I lying to myself? Am I holding on?
Cat7 says, the anti-vaxxers amaze me. This is what the world looks like without one vaccine. I know. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Captain Diabetes, I'm going to open my fourth hole and accept the universe's truth penis. Hope that goes well for you. Sexy Baphomet, she's saying a lot of words, but not communicating much. Yeah, they tend to do that.
To a positive lie, in order to soothe my...
I think Shakespeare once said, maybe it was someone else, brevity is the soul of wit. Maybe shorten it down a little bit.
myself, because I am afraid to look at reality for what it truly is. This is one of the reasons that many people will not look at the truth, because they have unhealed wounds from the childhood. They have traumas and such profound insecurities in their inner world that they have developed this external structure of security, this bubble of fantasy, the bubble of positive lies that they tell themselves in order to soothe their wounded child. So
You don't think medicine works, lady. What the fuck are you talking about? And you think crystals and shit can fix your aura, which means you believe in auras.
So they will not admit if there is a real threat happening. Like, for instance, what is happening now, when a health threat is being used as a justification to strip all of our fundamental human rights.
My fundamental human rights to go to a restaurant. My fundamental human rights to not wear a mask. Neither of those things are fundamental rights. None of them. Welcome to the social contract. Do your part or go live in the woods.
Away from us. Now, these individuals who are so insecure in them...
I'm not going tox says, I feel a real condescending aura from you, Hannah. I hope so. That's definitely what I'm going for.
...themselves. find that reality way too terrifying. So they would rather hold on to a positive lie and believe the media surface narrative of things. That all these measures, all this police-enforced quarantine against healthy, peaceful people is merely for our own...
Okay, but if you're going outside and you don't need to, and you want to go to restaurants and you don't want to wear masks, you're not peaceful. You're committing violence on the community by spreading a deadly virus. That's not peace, you fucking idiot. Do you think you need to literally be, like, holding an axe and swinging it at people to be committing violence? Thank you, Spork of Death, for the 10 bits. I feel like this video would be a good prank. Show it to someone without explaining what it's about and just watch them slowly realize what it's about. That's a mean prank.
Action. Because they are too terrified to see the actual reality of things. Which is, of course, that health is always a personal responsibility.
No, it's not. Do you understand what public health is? Do you understand that every industrialized, developed economy in the world with a functioning government has departments of health that work on governmental regulations to try and upkeep the health of the community and the health of the country? Health is not always a personal responsibility. It's why we ban things like smoking in restaurants because of secondhand smoke. It's why we, again, make people wear masks so they're not spreading a virus to other people. Because your right to swing your fist stops at someone else's face, and your right to go out and get a haircut stops when you're spreading a fucking deadly illness to people. What do you people not get about this? Stop being selfish children, grow up, and learn to sacrifice for other people. I swear to God, if you people were in, like, England when they were doing, like, the blackouts during World War II because of the bombing runs Germany was doing, you'd be like, no, I'm not gonna go into my air raid shelter. You can't make me. Fucking what? Grow up.
That nobody can use law to bind back the lives of healthy people in order to protect those who are frightened. So they have created this narrative of an invisible enemy. And for many people, that reality of sickness is something that they can identify with and they will gladly hold on to. Because they are being promised that the big daddy government will look after them. But those of us who can see how the mind of a psychopath works, and how, in the past, these same narratives have been used against us, we understand that whatever protection the government provides is actually our own enslavement. So that is one reason why some people can't see the truth, is because it's far too frightening.
Bitch, wear a mask. It's a piece of cloth over your face. If that infringes on your fucking rights, how fragile were your shitty rights?
Their psyche cannot handle it. Their worldview would totally collapse. They cannot even fathom that such level of evil could exist in this plane. But those of us who understand the psychopathic mindset know that control is the real currency.
Doctors trying to save the lives of not only their patients, but those in the general public who might be exposed to this virus. They're psychopaths, and you, who is refusing the advice of health experts so you don't have to inconvenience yourself in order to potentially save lives, you're not? What is wrong with you people?
And what better way to control than through fear? And the second reason why people cannot see the truth is because their lives are a continuous struggle. They are so busy because they are having to overwork themselves that they simply do not have the energy to think. They don't think. There are many people that they work such hard jobs. Their life is so challenging that
that's capitalism for you.
When they get home from work, they want nothing more than...
Good night, Le Poupon. Thank you for coming to the stream.
Just to zero out their minds. They do not want to engage in analyzing reality and sorting through news and then seeking for conflict of interest or any underlying agendas or connecting the dots. They're too exhausted.
Sorry, we are... what are you talking about, first of all? Are you talking about the fact that media has a bias? Well, that's true. That's certainly true. Media, because it's controlled by large corporations, tends to have a corporate capitalist slant. I agree. That has nothing to do with the fact that you should not go outside and endanger the lives of others. Because, again, COVID-19, I can't believe I have to say this, is not some hoax to try and get people to wear masks or whatever. I don't even understand. It's on par with Flat Earth in terms of what the fuck's the point of conspiracies. People don't want to die, or if they survive after getting COVID-19, have reduced lung capacity. It's not difficult.
They don't want to know. And the third reason why some people can't see the truth is because of their blinded place of privilege. They have never actually come across.
Says white blonde woman hanging out in the Andes Mountains casually, probably meaning she has a decent amount of money.
Injustice in their lives. Somehow they've managed to live their lives in this total fantasy where they believe that governments are actually elected rightfully so, and the people that are in power are actually caring people, and that the laws that are in place are all justified and moral, and
There's literally no one in the Western world that believes that about their leaders. They're elected, but no one is actually ignorant enough to be like, oh yeah, every public servant just wants best for us at heart. No, this is whenever politics come up, anywhere, anytime, people talk about how corrupt politicians are, how moneyed interests have, like, ruined the discourse in this country. What are you talking about, and where are you going that you think that there are all these people out there who just think the government's this great, nice thing that's never hurt anyone?
live in this rosy glassed world where they believe that everything is what people claim it to be. These people are so naive that they don't believe that somebody can lie to them. Well, if that person says it so in the news, it must be so. Well, if this product says there that it's good for me, then it must be good for me. If the doctor tells me to take this pill, then I must take it.
Why would the doctor tell you to, who's been to school for like 12 fucking years and did residencies and stuff, why would they try and tell you to take something that they don't think is for your best interests? What would the purpose be?
Nothing's ever happened to them that has shaken their trust in the system. They've never come across injustice, and therefore it doesn't exist for them. And they live in this permanent la-la land. And if anyone goes to poke them and say, you're believing in a fantasy, the reality is actually horrific, look around, they're, no, I don't want to ruin my happy feeling. I put my blinkers on. No, you are the problem. You are bursting my bubble. Get out of my life. I want to continue in my rosy, perfect world. And then there's the fourth.
What? The Doppel says, do you want to see a Nazi chiropractor's guide to protect against the coronavirus? What the fuck? Is he legit a Nazi? Like he's a, we'll take a look at it later.
Reason why people can't see the truth is because they are so heavily brainwashed and conditioned to believe in the state. Statism. When people take whatever the government says or does to their heart with such fierce commitment and belief that it's akin to worship. And so these people feel that if you insult their government, this nameless, faceless entity that they have somehow accepted as their God, that you are insulting them. And then that is blasphemy to ever even consider that the laws that are in place are immoral. And if we never come to terms with the actual reality of our world, of these powers, of these industries, then we are willing slaves of an oppressive system. Our very nature is
Jesus.
How do we strengthen and bulletproof our immune system? That is a topic for today. The first thing is, what is your immune system? It's basically your defenses, it's your army, it's your military to fight off the bad guys, the pathogens. Pathogens are microbes that cause disease. The derivation of the word immune comes from the Latin word immunis, which means exempt from public service. Now that's interesting. Now, if you break down this concept, it really means protected or free against insult, harm, or disease. So basically, your immune system protects you against disease. So the immune system is like immigration. So if something foreign enters...
Oh, God! Why?
The body, it has to go through the airways, it has to go maybe through the digestive system, and has to get the stamp of approval from immigration. And that's what your immune system does. It's constantly scanning to see if you are a foreign entity that could cause harm, or if you're part of the body. And once it tags you as a foreign thing that could threaten the body, it will automatically send in the defenses. And that's what we're going to cover next. There are three main barriers for the immune system. You have the skin. So you have all these friendly bacteria on your skin that actually help protect you against foreign invaders. You also have a fat layer that protects you, and you have certain acids that protect you on the skin. Then you have the mucus lining in your gut, through the airways, through the sinuses, that also capture and engulf foreign particles or microbes. Inflammation is another barrier that your body puts up to protect itself. The main cells in your immune system are the white blood cells, compared to the red blood cells that have a different function. You also have, in addition to white blood cells, you have friendly bacteria that help you as well. And the name of the friendly bacteria collectively is called the microbiome or flora. And those microbes help you in many ways, from absorption of nutrients to recycling of bile to immune defenses. Just one of the things they do as a strategy is they'll make it so there's just not enough space for a pathogen to live, and they will make it so there's not enough food for that pathogen to live. So let's talk about the defenses of your immune system, the white blood cells. It makes acid to dissolve and kill microbes and pathogens. It will secrete poison to kill off these microbes. It releases free radicals. It will make hydrogen peroxide. You've probably seen that before, where you take hydrogen peroxide and you put it on an open cut. It just...
How to protect yourself from energy vampires.
Hi, we're the Psychic Twins. I'm Terry.
Oh, God.
And I'm Linda. In our last video, we talked about what energy vampires are and how they make you feel. So here are some ways to shield and protect yourself from energy vampires. Trying to control them will not work. Number one, do not allow them to suck your energy. And don't...
That's true. If an energy vampire comes up to me, I'm like, no suck. No suck!
Don't let them suck you into their game. They're trying to bring you down and they're trying to get attention. Number two, distance yourself from them. You know, as soon as you recognize an energy vampire is around you, limit the amount of time that you spend with them.
I like that it's limit and not completely don't spend any time with them. Because, hey, vampires are people, and, you know, they need human connection, too.
Try to surround yourself with positive people that really care about you.
That's really important.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to find really positive people because right now it's unpopular to be all happy and positive.
It's such a cynical culture that we live in, especially social media. But we have noticed there are some diamonds, you know, in that environment, that toxic environment. You can, you know, really pull them in if you raise your own vibration.
And also really set healthy boundaries, you guys. This is so so important. Say no if the energy vampire is inviting you places, if they're texting you a lot, if they're emailing you too much, if they're calling too much. You have
I have
to
not
set
seen the
healthy
show The
boundaries.
Politician.
Yeah, and that means limiting the calls or texts you may be getting from a
Energy vampires can steal your energy via text. That's pretty impressive.
family member or friend. I mean, some people, it's ridiculous. They text you like dozens of times a day. And, you know, what do they expect you to do? Drop everything and just focus on your problems at that moment? It's exhausting. And so you might want to even unfollow or block people on social media or people who do text you all the time. Block and delete. That's our rule of thumb.
Yeah.
It works every time. 5, try not to react. Stay neutral if you can when you're around an energy vampire who's demanding your attention. Yeah, they're going to get bored and they're going to go look for other victims, right? Somebody else to feed off of. So it's better not to react at all. It's hard, but you get better at it with practice. Number 6, some of us feel guilty just for saying no, but this is something you absolutely have to do. You have to learn to say no. I'm sorry, I have too much on my plate right now. I'd love to help you, but I can't. I'm sorry, as much as I love your 10 Dobermans, I just can't watch them next week. I have to rearrange my sock drawer. Something, any excuse will do. It doesn't even matter if it makes sense. Yeah, eventually they'll just go find another victim. 7, don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. That's the key message here, I think. Number 8, commit to your own healing process and happiness.
That's right,
Now this, guys, this could require an entire
Volkov
journey
08,
that takes a
thank you for
lifetime.
following.
You know, a commitment to your self-healing, a commitment to your happiness. But
Are they just
you're
talking
worth it.
about
And so
narcissists?
this is really the
I
most
would think so if they didn't have this, like, eye motif, and their channel's literally called The Psychic Twins. So I think it has to do with, like, literal aura stuff, right? Don't get me wrong, I think they think narcissists are energy vampires, but I think they think there's this pseudoscientific thing going on where you're not just, like, annoyed with this person or whatever, and their constant, like, need for attention. It seems like they think there's some actual energy transfer going on.
important journey that you'll ever take is a spiritual journey, you know, really for your own self-awareness and for your own happiness and health. So make sure that you commit to yourself first. Very important. Number 9, you need to learn how to become more authentic and real and honest with yourself. If you're more independent, then you raise your vibration.
Ew, Maya is bored says these two scumbags made a fucking video where they channeled JonBenet Ramsey. I hate them with a passion. Gross.
And you won't attract the energy vampire. You won't need to rely so much on friends or family to prop you up like a dead person, like a corpse every day. Right. Prop you up and drag you around again. This becomes very draining to people. The person gets a lot out of it that's draining you, but then you walk away totally exhausted. So, you know, what's the price? Are you willing to pay that price? You know,
It's a heavy price to pay.
It's a heavy price to pay. Number 10, meditation. We talk a lot about
I want to see if I can find the video of them channeling JonBenet Ramsey. It's gotta be one of their more popular videos, right? Ghost hunting with Shane Dawson? Oh, God. That would explain why they have so many subscribers. Shane Dawson is friends with them.
Hey guys, it's Rachel, and I'm not centered.
Oh, they deleted the video. That's shitty.
The FBI has a file on us. We may be wiretapped. We'd be dead if we were in any other country, probably. We believe that we have a mission to do this work. It's like a nun's calling, as strange as it sounds.
Ugh.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Are Ouija boards real?
Hi.
You know, Ouija boards, which are owned by the Parker Brothers, the board game company.
We're the Psychic Twins. I'm Terry. And I'm Linda. And we're going to talk about the Ouija board today. Yeah, the Ouija board is an ancient tool. It's been used since some people think 500 BC.
Spirit boards. Ouija board is a copyright of Parker Brothers.
Long time for spirit communication, talking with deceased spirits who've passed over. I like to think of it as texting with dead folks. But you have to be really careful about using it. Yeah, you really do, because you can unintentionally summon very negative, even demonic energies.
This is true. You gotta be careful with Parker Brothers products. One time I was playing Monopoly and I summoned a real-world capitalist, and it was awful. I had to beat him to death with a shoe in Minecraft.
Who can actually wreak havoc in your life, and some users have even been known to be possessed by spirits. So it's something you really have to learn about before you just jump in and try it. There are just a few how-to tips, things that you should be careful about when you're using the Ouija board. You should always have at least 2 people. Don't practice by yourself, and never in cemeteries. Try to get at least 4 of your fingers on the planchette. That's this little tool that we use. It's like a floater. And so you just start off by kind of making a rotational circle with your...
Dude Spanking Dude says my general consensus with Ouija boards and stuff is don't fuck with spirits. It's okay, spirits don't exist. They're not real. So it's just a board with letters on it. And if it moves, it's one of the people holding it moving it. It's the reason that the thing doesn't move on its own.
Hands to kind of warm up and say, is there anyone there? Is anyone with us today? Okay, let's see who it is. Jay. I think it's our mother. She comes in a lot. We don't do the Ouija board anymore, but Anne, there she is. Anne E. Yeah. Is this Mom? Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. We thought you were going to come. We miss you. We miss you.
It's so fucking disgusting that these people are pretending to speak with their dead mother.
Oh, that's nice. Sometimes if the planchette moves in a figure 8 shape more than once, it's a sign of a negative spirit that is with you. So when you're finishing, you always want to say goodbye, which is at the end of the bottom of the board.
Yes, the much spiritual Ouija board that underneath it says Parker Brothers Inc.
Make sure you complete the session with the board in almost a formal way by saying goodbye. Goodbye. It'll clear the energy. And one thing I want to make very clear is when usually the problem with manifesting dark energies in our environment come from demanding that the spirit prove they're there. That's when they really do come through a gateway or a doorway, and negative spirits can enter into your life, and they will not go away very easily.
I saw that actually in the documentary Paranormal Activity. True.
You might even have to do an exorcism, I'm just saying.
Is there any other devices or things like that that either A, work, or B, are scams? Like, you know, there's apps on your phone.
Good
you can
one.
talk to ghosts.
Oh, look, a scammer. Hold on. Ban.
Really? Oh, really?
And the one that I use all the time, it tells you here if like a dot pops up that there's a ghost there, and then it'll give you words.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, the ghost radar.
Yeah, so right now it's saying there's a ghost.
No kidding.
Yeah, someone in the chat had like a scammy thing like, hey, you should click on this and you'll get tons of viewers to your Twitch channel, blah, blah, blah. This is a scammer. Oh, it's fine.
Violating federal law! You get that? Get that on camera! Ma'am!
I have a breathing problem.
Yeah. Weird that you can shout so loud for someone with a breathing problem. That's impressive.
So it measures electromagnetic energy or something?
Yes. Every once in a while, it'll say a word. Sometimes the scary thing, though, is sometimes it actually, like, you know, I was in my garage one night, and we didn't even say it, like, didn't say anything, and it just popped up and it said garage. And then it said suffocating, because I always thought somebody killed themselves in my garage.
Yes,
I've
yes,
never...
oh, absolutely. What was that?
This is even. I've never seen it go this crazy. There's like...
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this typical?
There's literally like 20 of them.
Oh my
They keep on
god, that is so funny. There's 20.
It's one of those things where it's like brick.
Brick.
Because I feel like, you know, if a ghost really wanted to
What
talk to
else?
you, they could
Tell
talk
us
to you
more.
through anything,
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
Yeah,
we'll talk
they
about that,
can.
Shane. I'm glad
That's
you
a very
mentioned
good
that.
question.
There are other ways that spirits communicate, like when
Electronics.
Electronics.
Yeah, because that is
I saw that in the documentary Poltergeist.
what they're closest to. They're in a finer, faster vibration on the astral plane or other dimensions, and they can most easily influence electronics, electrical things.
And another
So
thing
they'll-
is, if you're a very psychic person with high vibration energy, you might be a healer or an empath, you'll
Yeah.
screw up electronics. Like we do it all
Yeah.
the time. But make sure that
So-
you,
Yeah.
burn candles, and white candles are preferable.
Spirits or ghosts are
Yeah, if I was a ghost, I'd be like, shh, fucking get these green and red candles out of here. I'm not gonna show up for anything but white candles. What?
lost, and they will try to come in and confuse you and manipulate you. If they think that you are not protected, you're not stable, they will come in and they will tell you lies.
So you
even.
shouldn't use
Yeah.
the Ouija board if you're sick.
Don't use
Vulcan Princess 97 says, I'm genuinely fascinated by the concept of the supernatural, witchcraft, spiritualism, but I don't believe any of it per se. I like to think ghosts could be real, but I also think realistically it's probably not possible. Here's how I feel about ghosts. I don't think ghosts are real. There's no evidence they're real, and I think the fact that over the past 10, 15 years, as every single person has gotten a 1080p or 4K recording device in their pocket at all times, we haven't caught evidence of actual real-world ghosts, goes to show that it's always been kind of horse shit, right? The same thing happened with, like, Bigfoot sightings and UFOs. They kind of went down when people got video cameras in their pockets all the time, instead of going up as you would expect when in the past people could just claim things and no one would be like, well, why didn't you film it? Nowadays, if you say, oh, I saw Bigfoot, I saw a ghost, I saw a UFO, people are going to be like, well, why didn't you record it? We would know. We would know if it were a thing.
use it if you're unstable or
if you're having an illness or something like that.
And don't rely on it for daily advice. It's really more for entertainment.
No, don't use it for wisdom or spiritual guidance.
Did I see the Florida Karens arguing against masks? I
And it can be
did.
fun if you do it right.
They're nuts.
But make sure you do it with a lot of wisdom. And it would even help to have somebody to be sort of a mediator if there's more than one working with the board. Appoint someone as the medium of the group who asks all the questions.
You want to ask a question? Like I feel like I want to ask a question. Where's the next place that we're going to travel to?
Okay. Oh, that should be fun. Where are we going to travel to next? What's our next destination?
To J. Mommy gonna say
Oh my gosh.
Japan.
Japan? Oh my god.
Going to Japan?
Oh, we've always wanted to go to Japan.
Oh my gosh.
I can't wait.
Is this for work?
I can't wait. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Did I see the Orange County Karens?
Ma'am. May. It could be May. Looks
May.
like May.
That'll be fun. Huh?
That's a dream come true.
Wow.
Oh.
Trevor Belmont XXX says PSYCHWA.
Thank you, Spirit.
Thank you, Spirit Guides and Angels.
So make sure you subscribe to our channel, The Psychic Twins.
Yeah, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it.
Bye.
And we'll see you in the future.
Well, I'll save these guys for another time.
I'm Juno Birch, a glamorous alien woman who crash-landed on Earth in 1962. Ever since, I've been trying to, tragically, dress like a lady, but kind of doing it a bit clumsily. Hello, I'm Juno Birch, and I'm stunning. I'm now gonna take off this mask and become really stunning. I'm purple. I'm feeling like a lavender alien today, and it's gonna look stunning. So I've been chopping my foundation in this tinfoil and adding purple to make a gorgeous lavender tone. We're concealing all of the human today. The first time I ever painted my face, I was about 13 years old, and I went to drama class. And we all had to be like characters, and I chose to be the Joker. I wore like bright white makeup and massive red lips. I felt so stunning. And as a 13-year-old boy, I kind of had to hide that at the time. I was just like feeling every oat. I'm contouring now with a bit of purple, just to make these cheekbones even bigger. First time I ever painted myself blue, I was at a Halloween party, and I attempted to be Miss Argentina from Beetlejuice. And I turned out just looking like a crusty Smurf. But now it's just evolved into this stunning alien. Really cake this on. And this is gonna like completely pastelize that color. Of course, I've got really bad asthma because I'm a diva. If I put like white here, it makes my nose look really small. Start contouring with different eyeshadows of like lavendery tones. So now and again, when I'm not doing drag, I'll be doing a sculpture to pay the rent, of course. A lot of the time, my sculptures will like exaggerate artificial beauty. Very often, I'll make like a sculpture and design a look first, and then do it on myself. My ideas are like influenced by characters from movies. Rocky Horror was one of the things that really hit me as a child. I was just watching all these people really just enjoying themselves and being fabulous, no matter what gender they were. Now, I'm gonna add on these beautiful eyebrows. If I go up like this, she's nasty and she's a bitch, but then when I drag it down, she's nice again. I've mixed like a very, very, very pale blue, and I'm gonna mark out this brow. When I was a kid, I would draw really exaggerated women with like massive breasts and like really long hair and high heels, and that was my way of escapism. And it was kind of like the femininity I lacked and craved as a child. I just drew it out on paper.
Drag queens are like wild at how good they are with makeup. I wish I had that level of fucking talent. I don't wear makeup a lot on stream. I should, because I like it, but I'm just really lazy and it takes a while to put on. But yeah, I can't do eyeshadow at all. It's something I gotta work on.
Alright, y'all, let's get into this. Listen, the goal of this, I'm trying to save y'all pockets, but most importantly, I'm trying to save obstacles in your life. This might even save your life. Women to avoid at all costs. This is no jokes. No jokes here. I've gotten to a point where I can tell, listen, I could be in the midst of a bunch of Tatianas. Club thoughts don't matter. I can tell which ones got low energy, you know, like that pass that pussy over here type energy, and I can tell which ones got high energy. That goes for people in general though. But some of y'all, that's foreign to some of y'all, cause you ain't there yet. That's cool, it's cool. Listen, some of y'all just gotta stop thinking with your dick for 1 second and really observe some of these females' actions. Honestly, just really observe them. Really see their habits, like how they do things. You'll figure out a lot of this stuff if you just sit back, relax, not talk so much, let them blurt out because you know a lot of these females be catching themselves and stuff, and you'll pick up on it. You're like, yo, okay, that bitch crazy. I'm telling you, this is straight truth. I'm not playing with y'all, bro. The number one female you need to avoid, y'all, is chicks with emotional baggage. Emotional baggage, like, you know.
Everyone has emotional baggage to one extent or another. Men and women, and non-binary folks.
Maybe it's the most common, you know, I've talked about this before. Daddy issues. The most common thing. Those be the ones that's turning into attention whores. Those be the ones, you know, all guy friends. They have to be around guys. They always need validation from guys. And, you know, it's sad to say that, you know, they didn't have...
You're literally going to clubs to hit on women. What the fuck are you talking about?
...a father that loved them or whatever happened. I don't know what happened in this chick's childhood. You know, for whatever reason, the daddy issues is one thing, but...
My mic is as high up as it goes, so I don't know why... And, like, my decibel is higher than his, so I don't know why you can't hear me.
She's gonna be looking at you to get her through all of that stuff, and the only person that's finna fix your emotional baggage, that's you. It's only gotta be her. She gotta figure that out. She gonna be looking at you like daddy and boyfriend, or daddy and he's dropping dick off. You don't want to be both. You don't want to be both. I'm not talking about you dicking her down and she calling you poppy and all this sexy stuff. None of that. I'm talking about daddy daycare type stuff. You don't want to be that. Okay? Emotional support is what she gonna be using you for mostly. You are not the person that's gonna sit here.
I have the video up as high as it'll go, so that's just his audio levels. I can find something else to watch though if it's too low for you guys. I'll save him for another time.
Vampires. Immortal, seductive, dangerous. For over 200 years, vampires have romanced our popular imagination in fiction, in film, and in myth that stretches back to ancient times. But would it come as a surprise to many of you listening that there are modern people who identify with the word vampire, that they call themselves vampires? They come in many shapes and sizes, many different belief systems, and they may be standing next to you in line at the grocery store. I use the word psychic vampire to identify myself. Now, I understand that many of you watching these have probably come to these videos by watching me also on a television show called Paranormal State. So the idea of a psychic vampire may seem fairly extraordinary to you. And yet,
extraordinary is a kind word, yes.
Simply just a different sort of psychic. A person who is a psychic vampire needs to regularly and actively take in human vital energy in order to maintain their own mental, emotional, and physical well-being. They are people who are very psychic. From an early age, they have an awareness of this energy. They're sensitive to the emotional state of others. They are sensitive to the peaks and valleys of energy around them, and they are tuned very particularly to the vital energy of living human beings. That's not to say that they are unaware of other forms of psychic energy. Most psychic vampires that I know are also very gifted spirit mediums. And in many respects, it's perfectly normal for them to walk into a room, to be aware of the lingering emotional impressions left behind by the living people there, and to also be aware of the other spiritual dimensions of that place. The spirits that come and go, the dead that...
Can you define the spiritual dimensions of that place and then illustrate to me that they are actually real and not something that you have made up?
Still linger, and the memory ghosts, the echoes and emotional residues left by events, traumatic or otherwise, from years ago. In many ways, psychic vampires have a wholly unique experience of the world, and the defining factor, the thing that makes them vampiric, in addition to psychic, is many of them, to my knowledge all of them, myself included, have some manner of a chronic physical ailment. They are sickly people. And they learn at a young age to take energy from other people in order to maintain their own well-being. Now, many of them never really understand what's going on with this. You've encountered these sort of psychic vampires. They will find ways to push your emotional buttons. They're
What is with these people conflating, like, people who are emotionally draining with literal vampirism? Just stop. People are not vampires because you're, like, tired after talking with them. Ugh.
The religion of the future will be a cosmic religion. It should transcend personal God and avoid dogma and theology. Can you feel it? A sort of anticipation growing stronger and stronger? Another way of putting it is, time is speeding up. We've heard that discussion for a while now. I know many people are feeling it, whether it happens while—
Did they talk to Hans Wormhead about the fucking time speeding up bullshit?
while observing world events, or perhaps through personal experiences in their own lives. Something big is happening. You can see signs of it all over the world. Technology is rapidly transforming the way that we live our lives. Information of literally every variety is available to us at the touch of a button. We are seeing huge debates and conversations taking place about all manner of subjects, from equality to major global issues. New cryptocurrencies appear to be on the brink of changing the way that we interface with finances and wealth. And while all the while we keep seeing warnings from scientists about global warming and overpopulation, which, if things reach some sort of dangerous climax, it has the potential to catapult us into a different way of life very quickly. And with all of these changes, we are actively in the process of discovering something amazing. We are remembering who we are. This revolutionary discovery is what will transform life on Earth into something completely different, something incredible and beautiful, aligned harmoniously with nature. So many people across the globe are learning about this, and by applying what they've learned to their lives, have come to witness marvelous changes. Some have been so impacted that they've dedicated their lives to sharing what they've learned with the world. Personally, I'm someone who's still exploring it, and I want more people to talk about it with. Mind, body, spirit. This is the sacred trinity behind life on Earth. Without even one of these three, we could not function properly. And yet, in today's world, we really only understand two of the three.
Okay, but that's because the modern understanding of what was once called the spirit is more understood as, like, the mind, which is an emergent property of the effects of the brain. We are our brains. There isn't this separate entity separate from our minds that exists, as far as we know.
We have scientifically mapped the brain and have a fairly comprehensive understanding of the body. We understand so much about each of these. Yet, what do we really know about the spirit? The soul? What is it? Where does it come from? For centuries, religions have been the primary source for answers pertaining to the soul. But they're not concrete. Each religion has its own answers about how things work on the spiritual level. Yet, as we've touched on, with so much information available to us, and many ancient discoveries continuing to redefine our history, there are many people now recognizing the common threads between all of these religions and putting the pieces together along with modern science, which is skyrocketing our understanding further and further into an amazing new world of freedom and delight. For a long time, these incredible insights went largely unnoticed by the global community. And while governments and secret services of the world acknowledged them, it wasn't something that really got to the masses. Yet, today, the world is waking up. Today, this information is freely available to all of us, and I'm gonna share it with you.
Ooh, deluxe edition.
Have you ever had a moment where you knew exactly what someone was going to say 2 or 3 seconds before they even started talking? Do you have a
Okay, but if for some reason you're thinking about things when someone's about to talk to you, and you're anticipating what people are about to say to you, statistically at some point you're probably gonna get it right. That doesn't mean if you were doing it consistently and every single time someone comes up to talk to you, you predict it. That might be something to note, but not like every once in a while, right?
A shared connection between a loved one or a pet where you can always tell exactly what the other was feeling or what they're thinking of even when they're not really around? What about that curious?
Then how do you know you're accurate? If they're not around, how can you test what you think that they're feeling against the actual person? Are you just assuming, like, I feel like they're happy right now, and without any further, like, evidence that that's the case, you go, we must have a really strong connection.
Curious feeling like you were being watched, only to turn around to see, yak! Yeah, just like that. We've all had experiences like these, at least a few times, some many more than others. There are even a few people who can tap into this experience quite easily, and while generally they're written off as being crazy, maybe we've been mistaken. Perhaps there's genuine validity to the idea of psychic.
You would need evidence for that to be the case. Something that's repeatable, something that's testable, something that other people can then test. That's how science works.
In the world of science, what do we really know about consciousness? We don't really know what consciousness is.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's some woo-woo bullshit. This is a God of the Gamps argument, except instead of, like, putting God in the hole where we have a lack of understanding, you're just using a vague spirituality to explain it.
Or how it works. This is what is sometimes called the hard problem, because there's no obvious explanation for why we should be conscious at all. And it's because of this reason that consciousness studies is one of the most exciting frontier areas of science today.
What? What do you mean? I mean, we could make, like, hypotheses about that. I think it's pretty reasonable to understand that, like, consciousness, self-awareness is a good way to problem solve. Like, if you were just following instincts and had no, like, ability to self-reflect, you would be worse at problem-solving abilities. And as it turns out, the ability to self-reflect and problem-solve is a very beneficial survival strategy. I think that's relatively understandable, right? Thank you, Canadian Brunch, for following. And thank you, Dude Spanking Dudes, for the 5 bits. Here's some bits to watch an ad for you. I want to thank you for respecting me, even if we have different opinions. I used to be afraid to say I was pagan in your Discord server since I was afraid people would make fun of me. I met a lot of nice, awesome people in your server. Keep doing good work, Hannah. Oh, thank you. We could disagree on things and us not be dicks to each other. It's fine.
For a long time, scientists believed that thoughts resided purely in the brain, and that was the end of the story. Today, however, we understand a lot more, and there are several individuals and their teams I'd love to give special commendations towards. The first scientist is a man named Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, PhD. This man has compiled a number of powerful and thought-provoking experiments which change the way that we look at and understand our minds. From his work and experiments, he puts forth the idea that the mind is not isolated inside the head at all, but extends out into the world around us as a morphogenetic field.
And does he have any evidence or way to detect it? That I would be curious about. Let's see.
One thing I love about this man is that he used very practical and common experiences that many of us go through on a daily basis.
Okay, but anecdotes aren't evidence, right? Okay?
And turned them into a wide array of powerful scientific experiments. In one particular experiment, they demonstrated the connection between dogs and humans by monitoring the behavior of the dog when the person was out of the house. And the dogs would repeatedly show behavior of waiting by the door for their human buddy as early as when the person even had the intention to go home.
Okay, but that's because typically dogs know around the time, even if dogs can't look right. Dogs can't look at a clock and be like, it's 5 o'clock, my human is coming home. But dogs and other animals can be like, oh, when it's this bright outside, it's around this time of day. Or other cues like, oh, I woke up at this time, I've been awake for roughly this amount of time, right? And it's not a precise thing, but we all sort of have an internal clock that's more or less, even on a visceral, like, non-conscious level, we understand what time of day it is based on a myriad of factors. Dogs also have this.
even from long distances away. Skeptics are often quick to respond that the dogs are used to hearing familiar car sounds, or they know generally what time their human comes home at.
Yes.
And so Dr. Sheldrick ran the experiments using unfamiliar cars and random and unusual times for the individuals to go home, which still yielded the same results.
Doubt. Very much doubt. I'd love to see that experiment run by someone who isn't a woo-woo crazy person, because I very much doubt it would show that there's actually a correlation.
Having the dogs wait by the door the moment that the person sets the intention to return. Dr. Sheldrick also did a number of experiments which he described as telephone telepathy, in which people would randomly call a participant and the person on the...
Hold on. Another link in the chat. This might be the worst video of spirit science guy I've seen. Jake covered it.
Hey everyone.
Oh Christ, yeah, we can watch that, I guess.
Receiving end would have to guess who is calling them out of a list of possible callers. The results of this study showed a rather high level of intuition for most people, who were able to guess who was calling at a rather high rate than you would expect if it was purely random guessing. This experiment was also taken further with...
They probably heard the voice, because when you answer the phone, people go, hello? And you go, hi, and then you would have to explain, hey, we're doing an experiment, can you guess who I am? You can hear their voice.
The sense of being stared at, where he proved that people were able to intuitively know whether or not they were being watched, with stunning results as well. Using this morphogenetic field theory, we are able to explain how herd animals move together as if they were a single unit. Dr. Sheldrick explains this by suggesting that each animal in the herd acts a bit like they were their own magnet, emitting its own unique signal into the field. But as they all come together, much like magnets, they link together to form a singular, larger field. What Dr. Sheldrick concludes through his publications and presentations is that the cosmos is not a lifeless mechanism that we have essentially believed since the 17th century, but an organic living system which is designed to evolve and grow, just as we experience.
What do you mean by living? Do you just mean in the sense that it affects change and it changes over time? Because that's not what life is. Life isn't just, you know, stars, you know, aging and growing and becoming, you know, whatever, brown dwarfs and then like dying off or turning into supernovas or black holes or whatever. That's like physical processes. That's not biological. They're not alive.
In our own lives. I think my favorite line of his is that in response to people who suggest this phenomenon is paranormal and whatnot, he simply says, it's not paranormal, it's normal. It's not supernatural, it's natural.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
In the comments below, you can find links to Dr. Sheldrick's presentation that he gave at Google in 2008, as well as one to an interview he did in 2016.
Hugh Jass Gaming 2010 for following.
Featuring his work as well that we'd love for you to check out. The next scientist I want to share with you.
Oh God, okay, let me see if I can.
Hey there, I started.
No, that's not the right one. Did you not link to him like you said you would? Liar.
Before I get into this, I'd like to take a moment to add some clarification around the last video, an ode to Emma Watson. In this video, I opened up about some personal experiences that I'd had over the last few years that really affected me. Now, I acknowledge, along with so many of you in the comments, that, yeah, okay, it's a little weird. I'm doing my best to understand it myself. But let me explain just a little bit more, since, I mean, all of us have had experiences that sometimes are hard to explain, right? A lot of people commented saying that I was just putting Emma Watson on a pedestal, and I think in my own enthusiasm and nervousness, I recorded what I did without taking the time I should have to fully and properly explain. I made the statement that Emma is the Christ Sophia.
I'm on board.
And didn't elaborate on the fact that Christ energy, whether masculine or feminine, is a consciousness, rather than a specific embodiment in one person. My expression that Emma is the Christ Sophia was to honor the light within her that shines so bright and so pure. But if each of us follows the calling in our hearts, we may all embody this same light within. So while this was really just a goofy mistake, At the same time, I feel like it was so important to post it rather than not, because it started this whole bizarre and wonderful conversation rolling. Otherwise, I would have shied away from the whole thing.
You should have. Please stop deifying fucking Hermione. Emma Watson seems like a nice person. She's like a cool feminist lady who talks about social issues. That's great. Please stop acting as though she is a deity with god energy. It's very creepy.
And we wouldn't be talking here now. So I've come to understand and feel as though, even though no expression is ever going to be 100% perfect, not even this one, I still have to put myself out there, because these conversations are so important right now, especially regarding the divine masculine and feminine, and healing the toxicity that pervades between each of them. So, what is Christ Sophia? To expand the conversation from the previous video, just for those who are wondering, Sophia is a Greek word meaning wisdom, and was often seen as the feminine counterpart to Jesus. The Christ Sophia consciousness is akin to unity consciousness within the body. It's when the feminine and masculine principles within each of us merge into the greater whole. This is because Sophia herself was often considered in one of two ways. One was the divine cosmic feminine principle, and secondly, she was the physical body, the ego, the human. The Christ energy, on the other hand, was the holy word of God, the pure creative power of the divine masculine. And thus, when the two came together in their holy pairing, the Christ Sophia was the embodiment of Christ consciousness in a human, a wise human.
This means nothing.
On a practical level, this means to practice walking the middle path, to flow and explore different perspectives and lifestyles, but not attached to any particular side. And certainly not...
Is this Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson shockingly makes somewhat more sense than this.
Demonize anyone. This helps us to see ourselves in fellowship with the whole of mankind and brings us together from the illusion of separation. Truly, this is what I see Emma Watson doing. She's creating unification in the world through her work. She's helping to heal the inequalities between men and women. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what she's done. She is an incredible role model, and each of us have that same opportunity to choose the path of light, and it begins with choosing to listen to others in their pain instead of judging them. Now that we've cleared up that a bit, I want to get into the greater theme and wisdom that came up for me during my Aya ceremonies at Rhythmia. It's relative to this whole conversation because it was literally healing the split between the masculine and the feminine within me. Mostly by seeing how these energies have played out in my own life, and then using that template as an inspiration for how each of us have our part to heal in this collective journey. Part of the journey was a revisit to my past.
This isn't just a word salad, this is a whole goddamn word salad bar. What the fuck is this guy on?
And some big life events that happened many years ago. It's been very difficult to talk about, but it's one of those times when you have to roll up your sleeves and have the hard conversations. So here we go.
Oh God.
Several years ago, I was publicly accused of raping an ex-girlfriend. And while the accusations have subsided, there's been an emotional thorn in my side for a long time about the entire event. There have even been occasional flares of upset around it, especially when I see vicious comments that I receive occasionally accusing me of being a rapist. I feel the whole story of this hasn't been told. At last, it's time. During my recent trip to Rhythmia, I received deep healing around this entire thing, and even greater understanding. While it would have been so easy for me to keep to myself and let it go, I feel like it's necessary for me to speak about today. Since I know now that so many people have most likely lived similar relational dynamics to me, perhaps through this story, it may help others to find healing through the sharing and exploring of what happened. As I lived it, it was a very difficult time. I had been focused on creating a sexual union between us with the impression that it would be creating connection and healing for both of us at the time. My partner was not so interested in this.
So you were horny and you were trying to coerce your significant other who was not into having sex at that point into having sex. It doesn't matter how much flowery language you try and throw in there to try and justify it. Pretty fucking scummy either way.
But still she consented. I was only 20 at the time, and upon reflecting with the plant medicine, I was able to see that the reason that this situation happened between us at all was because I was playing out a masculine wound. I was emotionally limited to only feeling myself. I could not feel my partner. Throughout this ayahuasca ceremony, I was then taken even back further in time and watched a series of events that transformed my life and changed me into a boy who couldn't feel. It began with the death of my father. His suicide shortly after my conception sowed a seed of abandonment, rejection, and fear into me before I was even born. Being born into a world without a father, I had to come to understand my masculine and sexual energies without proper guidance. I have since come to realize this as an issue that so many struggle with, which Robert Bly outlines very well in his legendary book about men, Iron John. There are not enough real fathers in the world, and this keeps boys from transitioning into men, real men. For me, my example of masculinity came from men and boys who were caught up in their mind, so fast to criticize everything, needing to be right in every situation with no openness to growth.
I feel like
And
you kind
all
of
resulting
really
from having
skimmed
very
over the
poor
fact that
relationships with their inner feminine.
you were accused of rape.
In junior high, along with
I think
tremendous
that's
abuse
the
and bullying by
the
my
headline
peers,
here.
I was
If you
taught
want
the
to talk
typical
about it,
narrative for
maybe
young men,
talk about it.
that if you weren't having sex, you were a worthless piece of shit. I was subconsciously influenced by the media as well, that women were sex objects. And if you haven't seen the film Misrepresentation...
Oh god. Why is he making himself out to be the victim in this situation?
...on this subject, I highly recommend giving it a
This
watch.
is awful.
Because it really puts
I'm
into
sorry if
perspective
this is
how
like
toxic
legit
sexuality
triggering anyone.
appears in
I'm
the media.
sorry. I gotta
At no
finish
point
this
in
one
my
though. I
life did I
gotta.
receive any education or guidance that said sex was a sacred connection between two souls. In fact, I was shamed from feeling I could ask anyone anything at all. You probably know that this is not exclusive to me. This is something most boys face. Because of this programming, sex was something to get, and the result of this created a boy whose lack of connection with his father compelled him to try and fill that void with sex to feel empowered.
I don't care. I'm sorry your dad wasn't there and that's an issue you should have worked through. It doesn't excuse coercing someone into sex when they don't want to have it with you. Like, at all.
All the while feeling like a worthless piece of shit. And I'm certain, as you can tell, that desperation is not very attractive. It was this energy within me, this twisted, quiet desperation, that was at the root of why I was eventually called a rapist. While my partner at the time had consented, deep down she did not want to. She told me later that there was a part of her that wanted to give me what I wanted because she loved me and cared for me. But in her heart, she knew it was not right. Truly, had I been able to feel the depths that I do now, it never would have happened. To my ex-partner, I deeply apologize for my own insensitivity. I am sorry I was not able to comprehend that it was not right for us to be together at the time. I have explored both angles and perspectives on this. Am I a rapist? By the conventional standard definition, I didn't force her down.
Oh god! Ah! Why is this? It says a mostly likes. What the fuck? Fuck.
Or anything of the sort. But she said that she felt raped. And I feel like it's important that I honor her feelings.
Really? Because it seems like you're not. It seems like you're trying to completely, like, excuse what the fuck happened. And you're trying to contextualize this with an event Like, that happened 20 years earlier where your dad died to try and excuse the fact that you coerced a woman into sleeping with you when she didn't want to. Yikes.
In fact, this is the reason I gave her a confession in the first place when she asked for it, which led to the story getting out online. I've actually publicly stated that I was a rapist before, thinking it was the right thing to do. And yet then I received so many people telling me, well, technically, no, not actually. And then other people who just use that as a fuel for more attacks.
I'm gonna finish the video still, but we needed a fucking cleanse. This is Markiplier. Aww. Oh. Okay. Wait, where'd it go? There it is.
This is where the line blurs in the eyes of the general public, and I feel it's important that I share this with you now for complete transparency. Regardless of how you may feel about me, and despite my mistakes, the broken child who got into that mess in the first place is not who I am. It is not a reflection of what's in my heart or what I stand for. To quote one of my favorite authors, Robert Bly, whose work is designed for the evolution of manhood everywhere, he writes, "Our story gives a teaching that says where a man's wound is, that is where his genius will be. Wherever..."
Dude. No. Stop. Please don't. You are not the victim in this situation. What is wrong with you?
Where the wound appears in our psyches, whether from alcoholic father, shaming mother, shaming father, abusing mother, whether it stems from isolation, disability, or disease, that is precisely the place for which we will give our major gift to the community. And so it's because of these wounds, these accusations, these mistakes, that I am able to speak with you about it here and now. After this relationship, I had the opportunity to live on the other side of the spectrum, in a relationship with a man who now I can see it was not right for me to be with. He was one who I said yes to because I felt obligated to do so. I said yes so many times and experienced so much pain because of it. During that time, I was too afraid to leave the relationship because of threats of suicide that would come up when the conversation of a breakup arose.
Okay, but this doesn't undo what you did, right?
Life has a funny way of mirroring our greatest lessons that we both act out and receive. The plant medicine revealed to me many truths about both the divine toxic masculine and feminine, where it comes from, and how to heal it. I learned how so many of us are raised into worlds just like mine, and how my story is not exclusive to me. How so many people say yes to sex, intimacy, and relationships even when they don't want to, and often they feel like they don't have a choice, even though many times they do. I also learned how this human behavior, rooted in fear, will one day come to an end. There is a pervading belief in the world, throughout many cultures and ideologies, of a heavenly father and earthly mother. These holy personifications are beautiful, often symbolized by a relationship between the sun and the earth, and where we are the children between the two. However, these archetypes are incomplete, for they lack the presence of the heavenly mother and the earthly father. This incomplete belief system, which stems back for countless generations, has created a deep, pervading belief within most of us that men have no place here on earth, and so they are compelled to brutally seize it for themselves. It makes women feel as though they have no place in the eyes of God, and so they are compelled to become the seductress, using sexuality to manipulate their way through life.
What the fuck?
While there are many aspects and roots of toxic masculine and toxic feminine energies, this is one foundational space from which these energies arise. We even find these mythologies being present in some of the largest religions today, with the goddess Sophia, the feminine Christ, being written out of Christianity, leaving us with a one-sided face of deity. We have Jesus, but we have lost his female counterpart, and so little do we investigate how these divine gender roles have affected our collective psyche. The medicine showed me that all of the twisted chaos of the world, the perspective of a gender binary
It's fucking drugs. You took drugs.
over a gender spectrum, and the pain and suffering that has endured, is there specifically so that we may learn these lessons, and through these lessons evolve and ascend into a higher expression of humanity, more connected to the light within us than we've ever what's on our hearts.
All right, I'm tapping out. I can't. I'm done. I need some Hans Worm hat. Let's see, Pie in the Sky, which looks like it's about the number pi. Here's a video where he talks about the fact that he doesn't believe in penguins. Here's a muscular grandpa he has a problem with, and then stop using emojis. Which one? Which one do we do?
Hans Wormhat, send this video to people who believe in penguins. And I'm talking about the tuxedo wearing, living at the alleged South Pole, the March of the Penguins type penguin. There is a type of aquatic bird, and it's black and white splotched. It doesn't look like it's wearing a tuxedo, but a memory that sticks with me from childhood is going to see the penguins at the zoo. And I was just very underwhelmed, because in your mind as a child you think, oh, emperor penguins, these big bright orange, what do you know, these big penguins with bright orange on them, and you get to the penguin exhibit and no, it's these little black and white splotched aquatic birds. And I remember thinking, what, these are just
He does think the South Pole is a hoax. He's a flat earther. So he believes that there is no South Pole. He believes there is an ice wall surrounding the Earth as we know it.
This isn't a penguin. That's what I remember thinking. And I just want to first go through these slides that are from... This is like pretty new penguin exhibits at SeaWorld. I think most of these are Orlando SeaWorld. I don't know if they're all the same ride or anything, but you scoot around on these Roomba things and you watch screens. It's literally nothing but screens and pretty props. Oh,
yeah,
look.
It's a ride. It's a ride at a theme park. At an awful theme park at that, by the way.
Screens. There is this part.
Don't go to SeaWorld.
And what it is, these are just animatronics in the background, and they sell it to you as living penguins.
I mean, in the ride, there might be animatronic penguins, but they have actual penguins at SeaWorld. I've been there multiple times. I've seen the penguins. They're there. They're alive.
And it's just not real. They're animatronics. Those emperor penguins, they didn't used to have these at zoos at all because just the technology wasn't there, I guess. It was
Bland Rick, thank you for following.
Show you photos of them, and you would watch them on TV. But
thanks for coming, Mock Turtleneck.
Never in the zoo would they ever have stuff like this. Nowadays, I guess they have this at SeaWorld, but...
SeaWorld abuses their animals, says Arcana Stamper Blackwell. Yes, they do.
Gonna be just black and white aquatic birds. The ones in the water will never be the emperor penguin. Why doesn't that one go swimming? Why do those ones just stand up there and not go in the water?
What? They do go in the water. These are the penguins in the water. What?
It's kind of a mixture. Some animatronics, some aquatic. But I mean, even they could have fake little robotic aquatic things too. Nothing to stop them.
Again, I've been to SeaWorld. I've seen the penguins. I not only saw them in their enclosure, but within their enclosure there's like, you know, sort of an environment that looks like, you know, the Arctic. And then there's also water surrounding, like, the ice sheets, the fake ice sheets made of, like, concrete that they're standing on. And some of them did slide into the water because they're penguins, and they do that, and they're alive.
Okay, look at the screens. How is this a ride? How?
Because you ride it. You get in a car and you ride it. This is like asking how, I don't even know, the Haunted Mansion is a ride at Disney because it's all animatronics and not real ghosts. Ghosts aren't real, so they need animatronics. However, this is just video screens of penguins, so you don't have to disturb penguins constantly with your ride vehicles going by their fucking thing with probably loud things going on.
What about this as SeaWorld? I just don't understand.
Because it's themed after penguins who live in the Arctic Ocean. Wait, is it the Arctic Ocean in the south too? Because it's like the Antarctic? I don't know. Either way, they swim in the water. That's why.
Stand. Showing screens. It's like they're showing you the truth. Oh, look, it's all just CGI and screens.
I love dark rides too. Dark rides are fun.
And really obvious. Like, it's not even trying to look like documentary stuff. It's just obvious CGI.
Yeah, it's a ride. It's a ride.
They make amazing rides that blend tech with story that everyone can enjoy. I went on this ride last week. I honestly thought it was just animated penguins. Until the ride turned around and there were real penguins at the end. I seriously almost cried. They could tell. This person could tell that it was just a bunch of animated penguins.
Did you just read their comment? They literally just said there are real penguins at the end. Fucking what?
It's not real. But then at the very end of the ride, they show you a few real aquatic birds, and oh, everything was real the whole time.
No! You idiot! She's not saying that because there were real penguins at the end that she realized everything in the ride was real. She's saying the ride was like video screens and stuff, and then at the end you finally get to see real penguins. How does Hans have such low reading comprehension? It's absurd.
I love this because fake animals are one of the things where if you go and you read through the comments, people have instincts about this stuff. And there's also people who joke about this stuff. They'll make jokes, little jokes about it. Oh, it's just a drunk person in a suit. Oh, it's just a drunk person in a suit. By the time you've heard that joke about the 100th time, when it comes to pandas, it hits you. Oh yeah, they are probably just drunk people in suits. Penguin is 33 in Chaldean. It's probably an old hoax. Look at these old penguins. How can you not tell that that's just a taxidermy joke?
What the fuck are you talking about? They're penguins, dude.
Doesn't even look good. Adelie penguin. Does that look like a real life, or does that look like a little puppet?
They're real animals, Hans.
Antarctica, penguins and krill in danger. It looks like a puppet to me. Doesn't
What?
look like a real life. Not at all. These really old ones too, the really old photos are just puppets. And people will always come, why? Why would somebody do this? Why would somebody do this? I've known people in my life to lie about what they ate for lunch, and it doesn't serve any purpose.
Okay, first of all, Hans, I'm guessing any time that you believe someone is lying to you, 90% of the time it's not the case. So if you think someone lied to you about what they ate for lunch, I doubt that's what actually happened. But that's a lie. If someone did lie about that to you, that requires no effort. It requires just saying, hey, I had a turkey sandwich for lunch, when really they had, I don't know, a peanut butter and jelly. This would require getting every scientist ever involved with the South Pole and saying, and any documentary crew, any fucking biologist that deals with penguins, whatever, and saying, guys, I have a hilarious joke. We're gonna make countless penguin animatronics and puppets, and we're gonna make up these things called penguins, right? They're little flightless birds that swim in the ocean, in the Antarctic, and it'll just be hilarious. Why would people go along with that, Hans? It would require countless individuals keeping their mouth shut, up to including the technicians who designed the fake penguin animatronics. You can't compare this to someone lying about lunch. Bumble Homestead with 100 bits. If Hans lived in the Twilight Zone universe, how does his episode end? Ooh, that's a good question. I think it would have to be some ironic twist, because that's a big thing with the Twilight Zone, the dramatic irony, the twist at the end. Maybe he goes to the South Pole to prove that there is no South Pole, and he gets there, and it's full of sentient penguins, koalas, gorillas, basically every animal he says doesn't exist. And they're on some sort of one world order council that orders him be put in a human zoo for the animals. And then at the end of the episode, there's like a koala bear that walks by, and it's like, humans, they don't really exist. Look at that fake animatronic. And Hans is now in the scenario that he, yeah. Alright.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Nobj with 100 bits. You can't prove Hans isn't a machine learning algorithm. Someone fed with conspiracy theories. True. That is true.
They are of their father, the devil, the father of all lies, and they love hoaxing people. They think that this is so funny. that they can get people to believe in stuffed animals. It makes them feel powerful that they can make people live in a fantasy land. And they get off on gatekeeping knowledge and feeling superior to people and smug, because they know that this stuff is all hoaxery. And so that's why they love pushing it. The more that they can push it and the more that they can get people to believe in this BS, it just makes them feel smug and superior. And they're liars. They love to lie. They don't need a reason. Although, of course, there are reasons for this stuff. They use it to push evolution. The South Pole hoax. I don't believe that Antarctica is icy wasteland.
Does he think any animals are real? He thinks squirrels are real because he can see them outside of his house. He's literally said this in videos. He's been like, you know, like real animals, like squirrels. I see squirrels all the time. That's his bar. He needs to literally see something in person every day for it to be real.
I think the center of the earth, that might be where Garden of Eden is.
He also thinks giraffes are real, but he thinks that they're genetic experiments.
I don't know.
That's right, capitalistic
and
propaganda.
The real ice lands are of the north. The north.
Thank you,
is
Gabby
the ice
May, for
wall
following.
around Earth. Just think of how north. Anywhere you go, if you go north, you're going to get to ice, and it's huge lands. Canada, Alaska, Siberia. And if you go look at the Shill flat Earth map, all of that is crushed into the center. Very tiny. How are you supposed to crush Alaska and Canada and Russia? How is all of that supposed to get crushed in the center of the Earth? That doesn't make sense.
What? In the center of the Earth? What are you talking about? They're in the northern hemisphere. They're at the top of the northern hemisphere on the globe. The Arctic. I don't even understand exactly what he's trying to say here. Let's take a look at a map of the Arctic. Okay, so this is like a top-down view of the Arctic up in the north. And yes, you can see parts of Canada and Russia and Greenland. Correct. But that's because it's a top-down view, right? What is he confused about? I don't understand. It's just a different perspective and map projection. I don't understand why he thinks this is any more crowded than a normal, like the projection you see in a classroom. I don't understand.
Those immense icy lands in the north, that's the real ice wall around Earth. And Antarctica, who knows? What they show us is Photoshop BS. The people who claimed to go to Antarctica, no, they probably just went north and took pictures in the snow. I don't know. I don't know what's in Antarctica. And definitely not penguins. The scale is so off on this. Like, what is with this mammoth baby?
It's closer to the lens, Hans! Do you understand how perspective works?
The baby is like bigger than the adults. It's usually just Photoshop these days. There's a lot of... It's like a meme. The emperor penguins. This person probably just Photoshopped this photo together. There's probably... For stuff like these penguins... I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the website by now where you can go to this website and keep reloading it and they keep making fake faces. Just computers can come up with just a totally fake face and they look like a real person. It looks like a real face. There's probably a Photoshop tool where you can just click the mouse and it'll make a penguin for you. Make a penguin, make a penguin, make a penguin.
I want to know the story behind the guy who programmed the fake penguin making algorithm. What a job. I want to see that movie.
That's what most penguin stuff looks to me. It's like it's a stamp from Photoshop where you click it and it auto-generates some penguin.
Hans, can you even tell the difference between penguins? I can't. When I, looking at a group of penguins, you can see, a difference in size, I guess, but, not in features, typically, unless you're someone who looks at penguins a lot.
I found one of those things for volcanoes. In one of my volcano videos, I was looking up Photoshop volcanoes, and there was an entire Photoshop pack for making volcano images. Oh, what do you know? I bet there's an emperor penguin Photoshop pack out there where you can just keep clicking and getting different penguins. Penguin 33. I looked up penguin books, and what do you know? The very first book that they show is Lolita.
Oh god. Let's see what happens when we Google penguin books. Penguin books. Okay, for me, the first is The Beach and Junkie, Poets Club. See, the thing is, your Google searches, the order they're in can depend upon Google's search algorithms as tailored for you. So, Hans, the reason that you got Lolita first, which is a book about a man, basically in a relationship with a fucking underage teenage girl. It's fucking disgusting. And it's like his perspective. It's really fucked up. But anyway, the reason that Lolita came up for you first is because you Google weird conspiracies about pedophilia all the time. That's why Lolita came up first for you. I don't even see Lolita yet on mine. Hold on, let me see how far down Lolita is for me. If I can even fucking find it. A Farewell to Arms, Shakespeare Sonnets, Great Expectations, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Pride and Prejudice. Like, Hans, Google searches are tailored to the individual's account. If you're wondering why it has Lolita, maybe reconsider your Google searches.
The pedo book. And Penguin, Bright.
Isn't that the point of the book? Oh, probably. There's been several movies about it, too. Adaptions. I know one was done by, what's his fucking face? Stanley Kubrick. And it's supposed to be really good. It grosses me out, though. I can't watch it.
Orange. Orange is 33. Penguin is 33. Go look at the old penguins. That's just a stuffed, looks like it's made out of a sock or something. It's really bad quality. They have widow's peaks on their chins. It's kind of weird.
It's a pattern of their fur.
Okay, how could you look at this and think that's legit?
Because it's not the one image I base my belief in penguins on, Hans. I've literally seen them in person, and even if I hadn't, they're incredibly well documented. Nobj with 100 bits. Oh, I get it now. Hans is trapped in a spiraling vortex of search results, feeding him more and more insane stuff. Yeah, probably.
It reminds me of in home ec and
feathers. Did I say fur? My bad.
So like a little rat or a little mouse or something. It's exactly what it looks like. Looks like a middle schooler sewed this together in some sort of art project. Photos like this are just all Photoshop. To me, this is just like, look at that. This is so out of place. How do you see how out of place that one looks? It looks totally different than all the other ones. And it's just...
No, it doesn't. It's just you're seeing it from the back. What?
Hanging out there. Very odd. But yeah, a lot of these penguins, I think they're just probably generated by a computer. And it reminds me a lot of... There's a lot of military footage and military images where you can tell the crowds look fake. It's like the soldiers just look like G.I. Joe soldiers that have been replicated. That's the kind of vibe I get from these penguin things. It just looks like computer-generated random stuff. Look at this. I got this from, I don't know if it was from this image. I was looking closely at these because just certain instincts that I had. I was like, I bet if you looked really closely, you could find like stencil penguins where it's like the same exact penguin twice, positioned the exact same way. I bet you could find that, or maybe a mirror image, but matches perfectly. That's just not the type of investigating I do, where I'm going to go, I know penguins are fake. And so I'm just looking for more like obvious stuff than that. I mean, to me, this is just really strange, this one. Totally out of place. And it looks more like the sock puppet versions. But then also, look at this thing I found. on. I was looking really closely.
That's
at
a fucking fat
thing,
penguin.
and this penguin just has an orange 6 on the belly.
Hans, it's probably a shadow, you idiot.
They like to leave a mark sometimes. I mean, so what is it? These are just people who are good at Photoshop, and their day job is literally making hoax Photoshop stuff. That's why there's a lot of people out there that are good at Photoshop. Their whole job is making hoaxery with Photoshop.
Or it's because graphic design is a large part of basically every industry in its advertising division.
They'll leave a little mark. Oh, look, there's a 6.
Like, even I know how to do basic shit in Photoshop. It's how you learn to make thumbnails, right? You make thumbnails usually in either a Photoshop or if you need to make PNGs or whatever. Like, Hans, I know you don't bother with thumbnails. You just use whatever auto-generated one YouTube gives you. But, like, a lot of people use Photoshop for many things all day, every day. It's fine.
There. Or, like I said, they'll make repeats of the same penguin in different spots, just so that they know they can point it out. Hey, look, it's fake. That penguin's the same as this penguin. Sometimes, doesn't this just look like a jumbled up mess? Like, what is even going on here? A lot of times...
Hans, do you see how low the resolution is when you zoom in this high?
That's kind of what the penguin crowds. It's like you zoom in, and it doesn't even look like there's individual penguins anymore. It's just a computer trying to generate what a penguin might look like, I guess. It just looks... Doesn't this look like a weird jumbled mess? Doesn't even look like individual penguins. Oh, and this is why I got this one. What is going on there?
Hans, again, it's too low resolution to know exactly what's happening there. I don't know.
It looks like just a failed rendering of a penguin. Here's what I mean with the copy paste. It just looks like it looks like somebody took the same penguin image and just pasted it on top of
Hans, you cannot... neither you nor I can differentiate between any random penguins who are roughly the same body size. They just look like penguins. There are very few... Like, if you're not someone who works with a specific kind of animal all the time, you probably can't tell the difference, right?
Itself like 6 times. They might come in and change the angle a little bit on some of them, but I don't know. Sometimes it just looks like 100% a copied image.
It's almost like species look similar to one another within their species group. It's almost like one penguin will look more or less like another penguin. The same that one human will look more or less like another human. With, we're bipedal, if we have similar diets, we're going to have a similar body shape.
A lot of times the penguins just look like they're floating over nothing.
Hans, they're on ice. They're on the ground. It's just white.
Don't these just look like they're floating? And their outlines look really sharp sometimes. What's going on over here? Yeah, I think it's just CGI. Most of the times these days, just CGI. Ancient mummified penguins found in Antarctica. Great. What a fantastical story. Ancient mummified penguins. Depraved penguins. Shocked explorer. Macaroni penguins. I always remember macaroni penguins. Where are all the macaroni penguins? And sometimes, so like the movie, like March of the Penguins or whatever, probably mostly CGI, but some of these bigger penguins, it can be a bird suit and they'll stick a midget in it and have them waddle around. It's never just one thing. Puppetry. Have you ever wondered why is puppetry such a big deal? Why are these adults dedicating their lives to the craft of puppetry? And
because some people like doing puppets, Hans. Jim Henson existed. What?
Puppetry is one of the ways that a lot of this nature stuff is faked. And they show us that we know that that's a thing that they tell us that conservation workers use puppets to like feed animals because
There's nothing funny about
I don't
the
know.
tools of
They say
capitalism.
that because it won't trick them or whatever.
Spork of
But I
death
think
of
that's kind
10
of a
bits. So this
disclosure.
dude just looks at pictures of
We know
animals
that
he's
they make
decided are
puppets out
fake
of
and rants
animals.
about how everything is fake for no reason. Yeah, that's basically what he does.
you know what I mean.
He also does trans investigations. He thinks like everyone is secretly trans except for him.
We know that they make puppet animals, and ones that try to look real life. I've done a bunch of videos on real life puppetry. I want to say the Aflac duck is just a puppet, I'm pretty sure. And there's more examples than just that. World Penguin Day pictures. Is that supposed to be a real animal? Wow. So what are the circumstances surrounding this image? 1 in a million shot. So somebody's out there diving with the penguins and they happen to get this amazing shot, or is it just Photoshop BS?
It's the former. They happened to get a really cool shot of a penguin. That's why they published it.
Does that look legit?
Yeah.
And it's like a truth in plain sight. WWF is fake. The wrestling WWF is fake. The WWF, this one is fake. Pandas, just as real as wrestling. Penguins jumping out of the water and somebody amazingly capturing this photo. That's also fake. This is just Photoshop. It took somebody probably 30 minutes to do this in Photoshop. Imagine the insane amount of effort that it would take to actually get this photo. And then think to yourself how easy it would be to Photoshop this. Just little puppets. I mean, this is enough. What? Is this supposed to be real? Penguin stuff?
That's edited, Hans. The flipper part is edited. I think it was used in an ad. They caught a video of a penguin slipping, and then they put the arm part in as part of an advertisement. Jesus.
I think it's similar to the gorillas, and I think a lot of people know about this penguin thing. It's just a big Masonic joke that's gotten out of control, and they just have to keep running with it. That's it for this video. God bless everyone. Hans Wormhat, please stop using emoji. So emojis, they are, I mean, everybody knows what emojis are. And so in this video, I'm just going to go through some slides that I picked mostly from just Wikipedia, things that I found interesting, and just say what I have to say about emojis. I really don't like emojis. I think they're silly. When I look at them, I just think they're ugly, and I don't think that they serve a purpose. And you should just use words instead. Why are you going...
I mean, here's the link if you want to see this video, by the way. As emojis are of the devil.
Going and clicking a little image instead of just using your words. So they are now considered to be a large part of popular culture in the West. In 2015, Oxford Dictionaries named the face with tears of joy emoji the word of the year. So they're saying that emojis are words, and I don't know what to say other than it's like a big de-evolution in...
Hans, emojis, however you want to classify them, are a way of communicating your feelings to other people, and that is what words are, basically. Emojis are a visual form of communication, like the written word, that expresses non-verbal ways of feeling and expressing things to other people. It's pretty simple. Don't be such a boomer.
Speech and just the way people communicate. I mean, not even speech, but text. Obviously, this is big over text, but it's going to transcend everything. I mean, sometimes you hear people say the word winky face and stuff like that. So, to me, I mean, it's just a known thing that language is a really powerful weapon. And this emoji thing is a strange dumbing down of society. They don't teach people cursive anymore, but they will...
Who the fuck cares? No one needs to know cursive. People don't even write things by hand anymore. They usually type. Like, it's good to be able to have decent handwriting. My handwriting personally is shit. But if you can do it, great. But cursive isn't necessary. It's not a necessary skill we need to be wasting time in school to teach children. It's just a waste of time. No one uses cursive outside of their signature. It's stupid. At one time, when people had to write out long letters and stuff by hand, yes, it's a more convenient and faster, and if you know how to read it, more legible way to read things and write down information, but it's outdated. It's unnecessary. Jesus Christ, Hans, you're such a boomer.
Literally talk about texting lingo and emojis in school. Like, does somebody really need to be taught about a smiley face? But that's the kind of stuff that they teach in school these days instead of learning cursive. So emojis to me, it's just like the pinnacle of the degradation of society and the way people communicate. And emojis are just glaringly obvious. Anytime I see somebody slapping a million emojis all over the place, I just think it's so silly. Why are you doing that? What are you trying to say? What message are you trying to communicate?
Hans, if you can't understand the message someone's trying to communicate with you, even after they used an emoji, which is one of the easiest way to communicate feelings to someone, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's probably like a neurological thing. Like, seriously, emojis are very simple to understand. This is a cry laugh, right?
With your different...
I think this is genuinely a problem Hans has, by the way. It seems to stem a lot of his conspiracies from the fact that he, A, takes things incredibly literally, and B, he's incapable of telling when someone's either joking or, like, he's unable to read social cues. It's very strange.
Pictographs. I don't understand.
What's this guy's channel? It's Hans Worm Hat. I'll get you a link. Hold on. There you go. Put it in the chat.
Use your words, people. So, really quickly, the font Wingdings. Do you guys know about this thing? If you type in Q33 New York, or NY, Q33NY, and now we know about the importance of 33.
No, we don't.
If you type in Q33NY into Wingdings font, you get this.
Why would you type that in? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. All you've done is say, like, look, there's an emoji for an airplane. And here's two emojis that, or not emojis, sorry, pictographs, whatever, in Wingdings that I think, frankly, look more like documents, not buildings, but whatever. And then, of course, it's anti-Semitic with a Jewish star there. Jesus.
Airplane, two building-looking things. Skull and bones, Jew star. Numerous claims have been made to who invented the first emoji. I mean, it's nothing new. Using pictograms, to me, I just always make a connection between emojis and hieroglyphics, which hieroglyphics are probably a hoax. I don't think the Egyptians were communicating with those things. I think it's just a hoax, ancient BS.
Why?
I mean, I'll talk about
why would people make that up
when I get to pictures that I have.
Have a good night, Dan Ziggy Stardust. Thanks for coming to the stream.
Interviews, he took inspiration from weather pictograms. Yeah, weather pictograms are a big thing. You know, the picture of the sunny sky, the picture of the sun with the clouds in front of it.
Yeah, they're used in, like, weather reports.
Kind of an interesting concept that we've always used pictograms for weather. And anyways, Chinese characters, street sign pictograms. Their work is now displayed in the Museum of Modern Art. There's this idea of a dingbat, which is kind of interesting and probably not used anymore, but in the days of printing, like using a big printing press, they would have, I mean, because if you've ever looked into printing press, a lot of times it's like letter by letter, they set these letters into these sheets and then ink it and then stamp it.
Yeah.
So they would have decorative stamps to be used. And that's kind of like a precursor to the emoji, kind of.
What? Illustrations are not the same thing as emojis. If you're gonna say that, then basically any drawing of anything is equivalent to an emoji, and at that point you rallying against them makes no fucking sense. This is just decorative to make the page look nice.
Poem typeset with generous use of decorative dingbats. Way classier than an emoji, though. Stamps. Just an interesting topic. I remember one of my strat aunts was really into rubber stamping, stamp collections. Not really what this video is about, but clearly connected in some way. Now, one thing that I want to talk about here is the ancient Egyptian BS. Look, it's just a slab of concrete that people stuck stamps into. That's all it is stamps.
I don't know about how hieroglyphics were made. I don't know if they had actual, like, for lack of a better word, yeah, stamps to put into the setting material in order to do it, or if they literally, like, carved it out. Regardless, in fact, they didn't have something like concrete at the time, so they probably had to carve it. So Hans, what are you talking about? These are large slabs of stone. You can see the separations between them, and they were carved on, right?
And yeah, I don't think it's a length.
Dude Spanking Dude says, well, this sucks. My mom says I have to lose 100 pounds before I even think about transitioning. Okay, I think that's ridiculous. I think you can do these things in tandem. But, either way, as unfortunate as that is, I think you can get through it. For instance, I'm exercising more now, and I'm down a little over 15 pounds. But yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I'm very sorry your mom is treating it like that. That's not fair to you.
Language. I think that it's just hoax. Ancient.
I would recommend, if that's like something you do feel the need to work on, although again, I'd talk to your mom about this because that's ridiculous. Get something like MyFitnessPal and start tracking calories and learn kind of how calories work, and that can help. But yeah, no, that's completely stupid of her to try and tie you being who you are as a person into some other goal as if it's a reward and not something you need to do. Stupid.
They want to sell you a fantasy, a Disneyland version of...
You're 23? Well, then fuck her. What business does she have telling you what to do?
Of ancient Egypt, because real ancient Egypt is biblical, and what they want to do is they want to take anything biblical and sell you a plastic, corrupted version of it. They want you to think that ancient Egypt was all about I mean, people's first mind goes to the pyramids. Where does the Bible ever talk about Egyptian pyramids, slaves chiseling away at...
I mean, what are they going to do if you just start presenting masculine, right? What are they going to do? Nothing? I think you should just do it anyway. I know you don't have money, but you don't necessarily need money to start presenting the way you'd like to present, right?
Stone and building pyramids. And then if you go use your eyes and you look at the pyramids, you see it's just concrete. Pyramids are literally just big blocks of concrete, some sort of casted stone. It's not...
No, they're not, Hans.
Not chiseled stone from a quarry. It's casted. That's what these things are too. It's... I mean, have you guys seen when they'll lay concrete and then they run over it with a stamp and it imprints a pattern into it? They can make it look really good, like rocks. And no, it's just concrete, and they've rolled a pattern over the top of it. A rock-looking pattern. And to me, this has never looked chiseled. That's one thing that I never understood. It doesn't look chiseled, because it's not chiseled, it's stamped.
Are you an expert on chiseling, Hans? I very much doubt you are.
It's not a piece of stone that somebody has sat here and painstakingly chiseled away. These are stamps. It's not chiseled, it's a stamp. And yeah, it just kind of reminds me of emoji. They're stamps. Wow, that paint.
Hans, how would this be a stamp? Because in this one, the hieroglyphs are actually out further than the rest of it, which means they had to chisel everything around these. You can't stamp something in such a way that it's this clean and have it be pressing down everything but this stuff.
Sure does.
Please explain, Hans.
A long time. A lot of times there's no paint whatsoever. Sometimes it's painted up. Sometimes it looks wet, dripping with paint. And all this stuff is just hoaxery. This is not ancient Egypt stuff. The ancient Egypt probably was not in Africa. Not at all. Probably was America. And, I mean, just think of Philadelphia. It's a big city in America. And Philadelphia is an Egyptian place. That was kind of one of the...
Philadelphia is an Egyptian place? What?
Video games I used to play was Civilization. And it was always weird when you would pick Egypt and you'd get, yeah, the city of Philadelphia. It would just seem weird. Wait, why?
Is there an Egyptian place called Philadelphia as well, where Philadelphia in the United States gets its name from? Let's take a look. Because there's also, like, a Memphis, Egypt. But that doesn't mean that Memphis, Tennessee is Egyptian. Philadelphia... Well, there's Memphis, Egypt. So if there is a Philadelphia in Egypt at any point in history, just because something has the same name as something else doesn't mean they're literally the same place.
Why is Philadelphia an Egyptian city? So yeah, stamps. Hiero means sacred or holy. Hieroglyph. Glyph, a symbol, a pictogram.
This is Philadelphia. Amman. Why is it called Philadelphia? Let me see. Control F. There we go. It was named Philadelphia during its Greek and Roman periods. Well, there you go. I'd imagine this, the Greek and Roman city name of Philadelphia, is probably where Philadelphia in America gets its name.
Graph. And yeah, I think of emojis as being similar to hieroglyphics, pictographs, runes. And you could say the same thing about English. You know, where do you draw the line? Is the English language evil? Like the letter A is a pyramid with a capstone. Is that evil? I don't know, maybe. I don't know how language is going to work in heaven. I don't know. Think of some of the most... Why is the poop emoji just one of the biggest emojis?
Because human beings are children and we think poop is funny. And people talk about pooping. Like, half the time when Jake and I are going to record, he's like, I gotta go poop. And then he goes and poops, and then we record.
You can be in the grocery store, and you'll see poop emoji stuff. We're supposed
because kids, like everyone else, thinks poop is funny. People think poop is funny.
So be in a grocery store, food, and they're going to have cute-looking poop stuff. Yeah, you live in Sodom and Gomorrah. This is modern-day Babylon. They try to make poop cute. I mean, just at the store, at my store, there's like unicorn poop themed stuff. It's so disgusting and degenerate. Emojis just show you how degenerate everything has become. And this place is a freak show. Imagine talking to people in the Victorian era about how, at the grocery store they have poop emoji stuffed animals you can buy and you can eat unicorn poop. One of the most common emojis I see these days is the orange heart. Look out for people using the orange heart. They go out of their way to select an orange heart. What do you know? Famously, both the peach and the eggplant were used for other meanings.
Is he not going to comment on that?
I thought this was just weird. Dancer is female on Apple and SoftBank standards, but male or gender neutral on others. So, just one thing about emojis is, yeah, when I see somebody giving me a bunch of emojis, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to interpret it. It's very ambiguous.
Okay, Hans, then you might just have a problem understanding, like, non-verbal communication. A lot of people have that, and that's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't make the use of them a conspiracy, because most people can interpret emojis with a relatively high, like, success rate. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean other people don't. Hans is Dunning-Kruger personified. He thinks he's smart, even though he's very stupid. So he thinks if he doesn't understand something, no one must either, so it's gotta be some big conspiracy.
And that's not how we should be speaking. Mean what you say. And just think of the way that this place operates. They love statements that have double
Good night, I'm
meanings.
not going
They love
talks.
puns.
Thanks for coming to the
They
stream.
love saying little tricky things where they're sneaking loopholes in there. And that's the type of language that they like. They like ambiguous language. And that's not how we're supposed to speak. We're supposed to say what we mean and try to speak in a way where people can't misinterpret what we're saying. And anyways, talking about the nail polish, and yeah, how in America this nail polish thing, it has kind of a snooty like attitude to it, you know, non-caring, fatuitousness, anything from shutting haters down to a sense of accomplishment, painting your nails. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Fatuitiveness, what does that mean? Hold on. Fatuitive. Not fortuitous. Fatuitivus. Fatuitivus. Because he didn't say... He said fatuitive. No. So did he just misspeak and say a word that doesn't exist? Oh, Hans.
Aubergine is the most notable emoji of 2015. Somebody compared the use of emoji to a developing language, particularly mentioning the American use of eggplant to represent phallus. Some linguists have classified emoji and emoticons as discourse markers. I don't know what that means. So I tried to find a picture of this, but I couldn't. I just put this slide in here so I would remember. I remember growing up, there were some books. It would be like a regular story. It would be like, Susie had a pet, and then instead of saying the word cat, it would just be a picture of a cat. And you would read the story, and it would just say, Susie and her cat went back to there, and it would show a little pictograph of house. I don't know why, but this just reminded me of that. I tried to find a picture of it to explain what I mean, but I couldn't find it. Do you guys remember that? There were stories with little emojis instead of words. It's infantile. It's just very infantile. To me, it's really weird seeing how many adults and old people, they just go over the top with emojis, and it just feels very infantile to me. They're data mining on emojis. They analyzed 1.2 billion messages and announced that the face with tears of joy was the most popular emoji. The heart and the heart eyes emoji stood second and third respectively. I do see the heart eyes one all the time. I thought this was just kind of interesting. People in countries like Australia, France, and the Czech Republic used more happy emoji, while this was not so for people in Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina, where they used negative emoji. There's been discussion among legal experts on whether or not emoji could be admissible as evidence in court trials.
I don't know why you're laughing at that, Hans. It's a little humorous, but, like, that's a realistic fact. People use emojis, and because they're used in text messages and emails, which are often admissible in court, there needs to be a legal framework to say, oh, this person used this emoji. Is this enough to say that there was intent, or is this enough to say that this person felt this way about whatever situation? Like, You can laugh all you want, but that's a real legal issue that has to be solved.
Okay, this is just shows you where we are. Imagine trying to explain this to somebody 100 years ago. In the second part of 2019, a period emoji will be released that is intended to help break the stigma of menstruation. In addition to normalizing periods, it will also be relevant to describe medical topics such as donating blood and other blood-related activities. Research has shown that emoji are often misunderstood. In some cases, this misunderstanding is related to how the actual emoji
Dude
design is
Spanking
interpreted
Dude
by the
says,
viewer.
it just sucks when she
And-
treats losing weight like a reward. Lose this many pounds and it'll get you this game, stuff like that. I'm sure. I don't know. It's tough. If I were you, I would probably work on losing weight just because that's what I'm doing right now, just because I don't feel super healthy, and I know when I was not so overweight, I felt better in terms of just day to day, like health wise. And if your mom gets you that stuff, great. If not, whatever. And then at some point in the future, when you're more financially independent, if you feel the need to, you can cut her out of your life. I mean, it's fine. If she's going to treat you like that, I wouldn't want to put up with it, and I understand that right now you might have to, but you won't always have to, if that helps. I know it can seem really far away, but I'm telling you, someday they're going to have to stand on their own 2 feet in terms of, respect for you, and if they don't, you don't have to deal with it.
Or they can just look differently. I mean, you've probably gotten texts from people and you just see a bunch
Thank
of
you,
black
Keeper81,
boxes with X's
for
out. You can't
hosting.
even see what they were saying. I thought this was just strange. For example, people in China have developed a system for using emoji subversively so that a smiley face could be sent to convey a despising, mocking, and even obnoxious attitude. And then they got really into some specifics. You can pause and read it if you want to. This was just more emojis being interpreted. How do you interpret it?
It's like this one. This is a person laughing. It's like someone doing this. They're like giggling at something. Hans, if you don't understand this and are incapable of seeing that, that's fine. Different people have different strengths, and some people are not as able to understand images as intuitively. But just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's a conspiracy. Everyone else, most people can look at an emoji and understand what it means intuitively.
On one iOS, the emoji looked neutral, but on another platform, it looked like they were making fun of people. Yikes.
Just here's the woman from fucking The Good Place, just gonna say yikes and then move on. What?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Tin Man 2501, thanks for the 300 bits.
Microsoft stated that the change, so this is talking about how they got rid of a pistol emoji and they turned it into a outer space thing, a ray gun. Microsoft stated that the change was made to bring the glyph more in line with industry standard designs. I just thought the use of the word glyph. There is something strange and runic.
Oh my god. Let's look at the actual definition of glyph. Glyph. Nope, not glyphosate. Glyph. A hieroglyphic character or symbol, a pictograph. It's literally the definition of what it is, Hans.
And magic about this stuff. Going back to the hieroglyphic stuff and how what they tell us about ancient Mayans is that they wrote with these glyphs. So there is just a pagan connection. So much talking about the eggplant. So much talking about the eggplant.
Because it's a pee-pee, Hans. People also, along with finding poop funny, find dicks funny. It's a human thing. People find penises funny. Because they're funny. I don't know.
I thought this was hilarious. Only 7%, so might just be a BS figure, but I mean, how often do people talk about peaches? 7% of the English language tweets with the peach emoji referred to the actual fruit. In 2016, Apple attempted to redesign the emoji to less resemble buttocks. This was met with fierce backlash in beta testing. Okay, this is what I have to say to people who use emojis all the time. Use your words. It's the same thing that you have to constantly tell 2-year-olds. Use your words. We have this language, and I'm not going to sit here and listen to... It's like babbling. And I hate emojis. I really don't like emojis. And yeah, I'll just block people if they use emojis too much. Matthew chapter 5 verse 37. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. And yes, here Jesus is talking about how you're not supposed to... The context behind this. You can go read the whole chapter. The context behind this, Jesus is talking about you're not supposed to swear upon stuff. Because, I mean, that's a big thing that people still do today. Oh, I swear on my mother's grave this. I swear to God this. You're not supposed to do that. And that's the context that Jesus is talking about here. But I think that more of what you can be interpreting from this statement is you shouldn't be speaking ambiguously. I mean, and think of the way that these evil people operate and don't act like that. One of the things that evil people love to do is they love to make these ambiguous statements where you can take it both ways. Or they're technically telling the truth, but they know that people are going to interpret it incorrectly. Yeah, you're not supposed to act like that. And so one way that I interpret this statement, let your yeas be yea and your nay be nay, is be a clear communicator, and emojis are not clear communication.
They are, though. They're generally very clear. And if you don't understand, just ask what they mean.
You're supposed to interpret when somebody just sends you 7 clappy hand emojis. How am I supposed to interpret that? What does that mean?
It would depend on the context of the conversation, but usually if someone does the clap hands, it's to be like yes to whatever was said, or to really get a point across.
And if you want to say, oh, I liked this
for emphasis
video, go ahead and say that. I don't support using emojis. Use your words. Exodus chapter 20. This is the 10 Commandments. I don't know the extent of this. So I'll just read. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath. And I think a big unanswered question is, how far does this go? And the next verse talks about, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. But, I think a lot of people have the same question. Does that mean that we shouldn't be doing any art? Is it evil of me to paint a portrait of somebody, or to paint a picture of a tree? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It might be. And should we be speaking with pictures of objects? I don't think so. But, to come down here, you shouldn't bow down to it. Yeah, you shouldn't be bowing down to these things. And I think that's more obvious in things like you shouldn't be praying to somebody's painting of Jesus or somebody's painting of Mary, which is something that people do. I don't think you should be praying to a cross, praying to some sort of symbol. And I think that's really, really clear. And it's kind of less clear where the line gets drawn. Are we even supposed to be drawing a picture of anything? Anyways, that's not really what this video is about. It's more just about, I think that emojis are just a very unevolved form of speech. People used to speak so much better. And it's idiocracy. We live in idiocracy. Look at how people used to communicate and spend time, write letters, they'd care about what they're going to say.
Okay, most people weren't literate at the time you're talking about, so maybe reconsider.
And now, people don't even mean what they say, and they just speak with pictures, like somebody who doesn't even know how to use words. God bless everyone. Hans Worm hat.
Alright, no, I'm done. I'm done. Alright. Thank you, everyone. We've been going for 3 hours, 45 minutes, so I think I'm going to call it a day. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the stream. I'll be back tomorrow for more. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I guess we'll see. Dudes spanking dudes. I hope things improve. I hope your parents stop being dicks about your transition. Sorry to hear about that. Hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys later. Bye.